So what is going on YouTube? Sitaux versus Miguel, the final set in the deciders of the first qualifiers for Redbull Wololo 4. The winner goes into the main event, the loser can retry next week, and we're going into Runestones, the first map of each set, which is basically like Arabia in terms of style. We're going to have Miguel as Red Vikings on the left side. Right side is going to be Yellow Chinese for Sitaux. Is a matchup where both civilizations have insanely good economy, but I actually prefer the Vikings a lot more. But here comes Sitaux, and that's going to be a clean will kill. I don't think that Miguel can save this will. Oh, Sitaux is playing this one a little bit overly safe. He saw the scout of his opponent arrive and he will disengage. But let's talk about this matchup over here real quick. I actually discussed this on stream as well, but I wanted to be included into YouTube. That this is the up-and-coming player, Sitaux, who has improved an awful lot in recent memory, versus Miguel, who has been around for a long time, but had a sort of a setback in his performances recently, and he's sort of trying to regain his lost power in the last couple of months. Now that is very sloppy to start with for Sitaux, so as much as I was praising him as an up-and-coming player, that was totally disaster scout control over there. Loses 2 scouts to the spearman. Tournament experience should favor Miguel here by a massive margin, but Sitaux has been grinding really hard and he has spent a huge amount of time playing the game. So don't sleep on this guy, he's got upset potential. And I actually had a bold prediction before the set saying 4-2 for Sitaux. We will see if I will completely fail with my prediction here or I will be right about this one. So we had a scouts into archers opening from Sitaux, but one thing I'm noticing is that Miguel is barely adding any army, which means that he's going to try and beat his opponent to Castle Age over here. You see that he's already banking food to do that. Other side, Sitaux hasn't gotten a single eco upgrade, which is something that he could definitely do if he actually cancelled some of the wills. Horse color is not that important for him because he's Chinese, so he's gonna have the extra food on the farms anyways, but double bit axe missing here at this point for Sitaux actually hurts really badly. I think Sitaux actually wants to play this one a little too aggressively. He's trying to go scouts and archers. If he breaks into the base of Miguel, Miguel's gonna be in big trouble, but that's a big if here. And Miguel has enough archers to hold this base right now. Sitaux actually prioritized fletching over double bit axe even, so he really wants to play this aggressive, but I feel like Miguel at this point is just gonna have an easy defense here. Now once we finish with this game and we will see the draft on the lobby screen, we will be able to debate if it was worth it for Sitaux not to snipe Vikings, because Vikings is one of the most sniped civilizations in the draft. Sitaux actually allowed his opponent to use it, and now it looks like we're gonna have a relatively even fight. After all, it's going to end in sort of a victory for Miguel. Miguel has had 7 kills and only 3 deaths, and Sitaux is gonna have to fall back. Looking at the resources, however, Miguel is gonna have almost enough to click up into Castle Age. That's the Vikings power for you. So what is Sitaux up to? He's probably going to try and buy himself up to Castle Age. He's queuing up a lot of wills, which just clearly shows that, you know, he's trying to micro here on the front, but he's not noticing that he has queued up like 20 wills. It might also be tournament nerves for Sitaux. Keep that in mind that he is probably playing the biggest stage of his career so far. So he hasn't really played in that many huge tournaments and had big results. So a chance for him to qualify to Redbull Wololo 4 against an opponent that is definitely defeatable by him is a big one for him. He's actually going to send or sell all the stone that he has had and go up to Castle Age. If he's selling his stone, he's gonna be very aggressive, but I like that idea. You do not want Vikings to boom against you. Even with Chinese economy, you just don't want to have all those Vikings eco bonuses, like the hand card for free, and that's a massive boost overall to you, and already the wheelbarrow as well. So overall, the fact that Vikings will have a greater economy and probably a way better resource income just accumulate over time. So we are gonna have 10 archers right now for Miguel on the field, make it 12, and he's just out-microing Sitaux here pretty badly. In this one, double range is still, but he is starting to add some skirmishers. Now, if he adds skirms, I actually approve that, as Miguel is going triple range archers. Not something that's very, very common, but I think he understands that his opponent is going to go for a super aggressive play here. So we will have some skirms. If Sitaux can secure a forward position here, Mangonel push could be devastating against Miguel. Miguel immediately goes for a second TC. So from this very moment, it's all about can Sitaux push Miguel before Miguel could just outboom him like crazy. And I'm not 100% sure about that one. That's also a mistake. Queuing up crossbow behind the lead skirm. He's probably too focused on controlling his army, but that's going to delay his crossbow timing really badly, and he's probably like, where is my crossbowman upgrade? This upgrade should have been here in lieu of the skirms that were produced over there. And as I said, every moment matters against Vikings. Every second that Miguel delays Sitaux here in the push, Miguel's gonna have a better and better eco. And while Chinese have a great economy by themselves, it's still going to be just brutal for Vikings. So you see that villager count is even, but you already have handcart, which attributes for like 7 vills or so. Still, I think the name of the game for Sitaux is crossbow lead skirm into forward siege workshop and just try to knock this down. Now, you see that this is what was the biggest criticism towards Miguel's gameplay in the last couple of months. He also seems a little rusty. So you see that there's a lot of idols around his TC. He isn't playing as clean as he used to play back in the Wobbly era. So he's getting back on track and he's getting better every day, but he's still not back in the old glory. I think when I started casting competitive Age of Empires, Miguel and Dogao were considered to be relatively even players in the top 8. And now Miguel is probably not top 10 right now. Still, he's gonna have a good chance of redeeming himself, especially with a good performance in Red Bull Wololo. But for now, he's just gonna be booming pretty heavily. Sitaux behind by 2 wheels, but also handcart. As this could be a good one from Sitaux though. He's got ballistics and this timing could be amazing. He's going to take this fight which distracts Miguel, and while Miguel is distracted, he's going to move in on the wood line. That was a beautiful combination. He could have moved a little closer before shooting first, because this way he could have picked off 1 or 2 more vills, but guess what? He is basically just removed the wheelbarrow advantage of his opponent, because 3 vills is basically that. So defensive siege workshop up for Miguel, as Sitaux is adding TC number 2. Siege workshop on the way as well for Sitaux. And one thing that Miguel doesn't have a lot of is wood lines at the back. So in case he loses this one and this one, Miguel might struggle a little bit accessing wood. So I like this group of crossbows as well for Sitaux, because this kind of forces Miguel to send quite a lot of forces to the north. And you see that Miguel is on the defensive right now. And while Sitaux is still behind economically, don't underestimate Chinese eco either. Another will gets picked off, and you see that Miguel is sort of forced to chase. And if you're Sitaux, you probably just want to run away here. Maybe even try to send the skirms that way, so you can force an engagement in the middle of nowhere. Like, that's actually a bad decision, I think, from Sitaux to fight here. I think what Sitaux should have done is take all these crossbows and move over here. Because Miguel probably would have started chasing to an extent, because he knows that he's got a bigger army. And then when Miguel chases, you can surround them with your skirms and destroy this army. That opportunity was sort of lost here for Sitaux. However, now it's quite a lot of skirmishers breaking into the base of the opponent. Mangonels are out for defense though for Miguel, and as I said, the problem that you're facing when you're Sitaux, especially because you have a bunch of elite skirms, is that you're spending your food on skirms. Miguel is barely spending any food other than making vills. Beautiful ground attack there. That was an absolutely amazing ground attack. He actually anticipated the split and hit on top of the skirmishers. Some beautiful micro so far from Miguel. So despite the fact that the KDs are even, this is actually a nice hold here for Miguel. He's on 3 TCs with Vikings. His opponent is only on 2. So Miguel's economy will keep growing. There was a 1-for-0 Mangonel trade over here in the favor of Sitaux, as he pulls 2 repair wheels. Still, Sitaux could try and play for, as I said, wood control, and just try to starve his opponent out of wood. it's a slim chance, and this is a risky move for Sitaux. Trying to run past the Siege Workshop is almost a suicide mission. Mangonel takes a shot and misses the target after all. Sitaux sort of is stuck over here, I have to say, as he loses the Repair Wheel and the Mangonel of the opponent will stay alive. So he can't really push deeper into Miguel's base. In exchange, Miguel's economy is very, very unbalanced, but I have to say that at this pace, Miguel will just beat him to Imperial by a massive margin, and Sitaux buying himself a third town center right now. Still, Miguel only has a 4 villagers lead, and of course handcart. So it's not the end of the world for Sitaux, I would say, especially if he takes down this Siege Workshop, and you see that Miguel's gonna have to build a new Siege Workshop. So if this goes down, suddenly it becomes a lot better for Sitaux because he can run in and commit. And this Siege Workshop won't prevent these crossbows from running all the way around, and now panic could start creeping in for Miguel, who will apparently launch a counterattack and hope he can defend with Mangonels, but I think this is great for Sitaux. Because Miguel could make a couple of defensive skirms back at home to slow that army down, whereas you see that Sitaux is now forcing 2 defensive Siege Workshops from Miguel, and while Miguel apparently wanted to go for a defensive castle with that stone mining, that's gonna be gone. And now, this is Miguel's chance to just start picking off wheels and forcing idle time and creating chaos inside the opponent's economy. He's got 3 Mangonels here that are idle. That's gonna be a 1-for-0 trade as well over there. And do you know how much gold income Miguel has? Basically 0. These crossbows could easily deny this gold mine. Now it very much seems like we're going to have Sitaux withdrawing here. I don't like that necessarily, especially because he's mangoing down his own army with those Mangonels. And now it's a crossbowman push. Oh, disaster. How was this not walled for Sitaux? That's unthinkable for me. I thought he's fully walled. And now the crossbows march into his base. He wasn't expecting that. And this Mangonel push is going to fall apart because now he's gonna have to look here. And he probably wanted to castle drop his opponent with that many villas on stone. And that would have been a reasonable idea. But that hole over here sort of destroys everything that he was working for. And all the advantage that he could have had from a very aggressive push may now be gone. And I mean, he's still applying a lot of pressure on the base of Miguel, but he's not actively killing Miguel, and Miguel is getting closer and closer to Imperial Age, especially if he sells the wood that he is banking up. So, as long as these siege workshops are up here for Miguel, it's gonna be insanely hard for Sitaux to push in here, and that's going to be nice, basically 1 for 2 at the end, as that Mangonel is gonna go down. But as I said, although keep in mind that Miguel sent all his army to the right side, so these crossbows could break into the base of Sitaux, but oh boy, I feel disaster. I think that this might be game over. I did mention that when you're fighting against Vikings, you have to actively be killing them, and that's not the case over here by far. In fact, even without the fact that Miguel is clicking into Imperial, this game is going to be very rough for Sitaux, but it's imp for Miguel, and this is why Vikings are 99% sniped or banned in tournaments. And I think that it's a game plan mistake from Sitaux. It's not an execution mistake, it was a game plan mistake not sniping Vikings. I'm really curious what he sniped. I didn't have the time to look into the draft yet. We will do it after this game, which will happen in a couple of moments most likely, because at latest when Miguel reaches Imperial, I think Sitaux is gonna tap out. Sitaux is nowhere close to imping here, and he's also nowhere close to like destroying the opponent's eco. There is one win condition here for Sitaux, and that's called minus 50 vills from Miguel. If this army somehow finds like 20-30 vill kills, it might be enough for Sitaux to compensate for the fact that his imp timing is gonna be awful. And remember that this army is very, very battered here, so if Sitaux cleans this up, then it's possible that he could potentially sort of buy himself some time to get to Imperial, but as long as you're, you know, just juking around trying to avoid Mangonel shots, that's not gonna happen. And slowly but surely, Sitaux's army is going down over here, as Miguel is gonna have a lot of idle time on him, but eventually the mangonel defense is gonna be nice. Now, knights are coming for Sitaux, but as I said, he's nowhere close to imping, and that is a ever-looming problem, especially now that these crossbows will just march into the back of his farming eco. And let's see if Sitaux taps out upon seeing imp. He technically has better will count now than his opponent does, but he's not in Imperial and he has no answer to Arbalests. Like, he could go Elite Skirm. Sitaux... This is tricky, because Sitaux could technically play on. That's only a couple of crossbows that don't have the upgrades, and they will just get cleaned up by the Arbs, and the thing is that Miguel is forced to chase, and Miguel's got 50 idols. Sitaux could maybe win this with an all-in Castle Age here. Look at Miguel's eco. Miguel's got no eco. He's gonna have Arbalest, Bracer, and Chemistry for a total of 8 Arbs, and Miguel has no gold income. And this is doable for Sitaux. It shouldn't be doable, but this might be enough. Now, not if he eats mangonel shots like that. He needs every single bit of army he can actually rally. But there's a chance that by just destroying the opponent's economy and just keeping the idle time high on the opponent's eco, he could potentially just overrun his opponent with knights. It's a slim chance, but now Sitaux can't even think about imp. He needs to think about an all-in Castle Age here. The problem for him is that if Miguel gets back to like normal operations, it could be enough to win the game, and that is what Sitaux is thinking about. And while that castle doesn't deny resources, I actually like it. Although this castle would be better. This castle would deny gold and stone from Miguel, and remember that Miguel doesn't have a lot of gold left to work with. Sitaux, I wonder if he can actually get that castle up. He's still only up against 8 Arbs. One of them actually is killing his farming eco. The knights, however, are even lacking bloodlines and +2 defense. Miguel is trying to buy stone for a castle, I believe. That's not enough Arbs. Oh no, he's just buying a tower, but as I said, Elite Skirms and Knights here, the numbers aren't there anymore for Miguel. This Arbalest is so annoying for Sitaux, but at this point the castle is going up, and this will entirely devastate the food income of Miguel here. And without food income, you're not actually going to be able to replenish your vills. Now there's going to be a castle for Miguel, I like this position, and he will start trapping this one down. So what Sitaux needs is like 25 knights very soon, and just keep killing vills. That's his best shot. I still believe that while this actually seems like Miguel is like sort of dying, I think that Miguel is in a good spot. Because I don't see Sitaux ever getting to Imperial, and I don't see Sitaux being able to stop Trebs here from taking down that castle. Still, this is the way to go, exactly, like skirmishers into the eco, and just make sure that Miguel cannot get out of his town centers. If there is one way to win this game for Sitaux, it is this one. And indeed, if he keeps applying pressure on the opponent's economy, then this could be enough. He's sending rams to the right side, but he doesn't have any protection to them. He needs something that protects those rams. Sitaux is imping. Sitaux is imping, and if he gets to Imperial, I'm not gonna lie, I'm trying to favor him. Because he's gonna have a decent eco lead, and if you look at the idle times, 5 hours idle time for Miguel. This is gonna be a nice detachment of Arbs. Oh, this could destroy everything that Sitaux built here. And that's the problem. Sitaux is focusing so much on the assault that he can't actually look for the safety of his own base. And this many Arbs could take down 15 vills here without Sitaux noticing. Let's see when Sitaux reacts. He luckily can make a couple of Elite Skirms. By the way, he's desperately in the need of more production. You see that his queues are full. He needs some more ranges, like 2-3 of them. Sitaux is also making Chukanu, but he needs to repair the castle. He can't afford to lose this castle because he's gonna need his own trebs. He's trying to push the right side with rams, but apparently changes his mind and pulls his skirms back to hold this one off. I think that at best for Sitaux, this is gonna be an even game. That still could help, because if you think about that, with Vikings, the main danger that you're facing is that they will get to Imperial faster than you and they will just eat you alive. And when those Chukanus get to that wood line, Miguel could lose quite a lot of vills. The Arbs are getting cleaned up. It looks like Sitaux deleted all his walls. I'm not sure if that's intentional or not. Probably is. As these Chukanu really need to get on the wood line. Miguel reacts, and Miguel once again has 30 idols. He's going to rush out with the vills to try and take down the rams. And as I said, Sitaux needs some army to protect these rams with. Sitau's gonna lose his castle and he doesn't have stone to build another one, as he's gonna do a mass migration all the way back home. So as I said, the best thing that Sitaux can hope for right now is an even game. He still has a massive population lead though, so I still firmly believe that if a castle went up here instead of here, this would have denied the golden stone and made the life much, much harder for Miguel. Bracer chemistry on the way for those skirms. Miguel can start thinking about adding berserks in an effort to try and deal with the elite skirms here, as the Chukun are still rampaging Miguel's eco, and Miguel really struggles to clean up his economy. Like, he's got 9 on food, and that's the problem that Miguel is facing. It's not like he's gonna add berserks or something. And while the eco of Sitaux was also very massive from all those raids, we have to conclude that Miguel's eco is way worse than Sitau's eco. 9 on food means that he can't actually go for upgrades because he doesn't have the food for that. He can't actually add some berserks, and some berserks here would destroy this entire army here. And I think Skirmisher and the traps here could be enough. If this DC goes down, suddenly Miguel is gonna lose control over that golden stone mine. In fact, Miguel already lost control over this stone mine, and this one isn't in his hands right now either, so he can't make additional castles, and Sitaux is making castles like crazy, so Miguel will sneak out to the right side as he's just trying to establish a little bit more map presence. And honestly, at this point for Sitaux with those resources, I would love to see Cavalier. 20 Cavalier here would work wonders, and Sitaux, he could actually do this. Because Miguel's economy is like non-existent. 1 on gold, 5 on stone, now 16 on food. And once the traps come in, it's gonna be a siege ram actually from Sitaux. How is Miguel going to stop this? The thing for Miguel is that he's going nowhere in this game. He's just sort of defending, trying to hold as much as possible. And while Sitaux is not taking the most efficient engagements ever, he's slowly grinding down the economy of his opponent. And Miguel is stuck at like 117 population. If Sitaux doesn't throw away his skirms like he did here, he would be at like 140 or so. Going for siege ram. And are we gonna have any cavalry? As I said, Cavalier here for Sitaux could actually win him the game, and now he sees the score flip. So he knows that, okay, I'm back in this game. Trebs are now out as well, and remember that Miguel's got limited gold control as well. This gold mine is inaccessible, and his secondary gold mine is sort of contested, so is his stone mine. So Sitaux actually has a lot more resources to work with all across the map, although his wood lines are looking really ugly. But once again, skirmishers will intercept the skirms of Miguel, and Miguel doesn't have ring archer armor, whereas Sitaux does. So even these skirmishers going down actually hurts really badly for Miguel, because he doesn't have the resources to replenish them. And now the traps are taking down that TC, and when that TC goes down, how are you going to stop cavalry from running in here? I'm really missing cavalry here for Sitaux. Nice counterattack here from Miguel, though once again pushing Sitaux back in his base. So Sitaux needs to do something about these counterattacks, because that's something that's setting him back so badly. But the more I'm looking at this game, the more I'm seeing Sitaux written all over it. And, well, the game wasn't clean by any means. In fact, I would say this was a very messy game. And in the first half, Miguel played way better. Sitaux's aggressive gameplay over here seems to be working out. And now the TC is gone, which means that Sitaux is getting closer and closer to denying the final gold mine here for Miguel. That's Miguel's only gold income. And obviously, after he's out of gold, he's gonna be in a very rough spot. We have some skirms and ARPs trying to counterattack here as well, but I mean, this is not a big force, so Sitaux can easily clean that up, whereas now the traps are coming in, but oh, Miguel, that hurts so much. Those expensive traps going down to the siege ram, and Miguel is scrambling to defend that group of traps with the wheels from the siege ram. Like, he's pulling the wheels because he knows that he needs to preserve those traps. So he pulled the wheels. Imagine if Sitaux had 5 cavaliers here, or even knights. Like, there's barely anything that kills knights here from Miguel. I'm not sure why Sitaux is not adding any cavalry here. Still, at this point, Sitaux is climbing up in population, whereas his opponent is still stuck at the 115-ish level. The traps are still alive, and this is gonna be a little bit challenging for Sitaux to hold, but I think at this point he doesn't need to hold this one here. He's stacking into light cav, and I think that's the reasonable thing to do. He needs to transition this into a raiding game. He could raid the entire eco of Miguel and just destroy it as it is. Especially because Sitaux or Miguel is just stacking into Onager, and Onager is an expensive upgrade. So stacking into Onager means that Miguel just spent quite a lot of his resources on something that will be destroyed easily by light cavalry. Now, if you're Sitaux, you don't want to show that light cav just yet. You want to make like 15 light cav with defense upgrades and then unleash them. So you still have some time, but if you show your light cav early on, Miguel's gonna be given time to react. But we're gonna have some skirms coming in here to raid and harass the eco of Miguel, and Miguel is probably expecting light cav now, attacking into pikemen. Slowly but steadily, Miguel is actually climbing back into this game, and that shouldn't be overlooked. Because now Miguel is taking down another important castle over here, so if Miguel is given time, he will come back into this game. Because Sitaux wasn't taking very cost-efficient engagements, that's for sure. I like this castle for Sitaux to protect his eco, by the way. Onager is coming in here, and oh boy, Onager's shooting at the mangonel. Nice commitment from Miguel there, and Sitaux trying to snipe the Onagers. He's going to fail taking down even a single one of them. This is why I said that you can't just send in 2 light cav, you need 10, 15. The problem is that he either has to decide that he waits for the light cav to group up and loses the castle, or he sends them out right away. So, looks like the skirmishers will try to open up a new front line inside the base of Miguel. Miguel is still in a rough spot, I'm not gonna lie. But the more I'm looking at this one, the more I'm saying that I think that Miguel is slowly climbing back. Now, this is the first step towards closing this game out for Sitaux. He needs to start raiding the opponent's economy and just destroy it as it is. The next step is not to lose your skirmishers to onagers like this, because that's definitely going to be very inefficient, and the castle is lost here for Sitaux. So now it's all about raiding for him. I have to say that he's still going to have the mobility advantage, and if Sitaux shows up with like 30 light cav here, Miguel's eco is going to collapse in 5 seconds. So Sitaux should have a big advantage here. 79 on wood, and now he's going to launch a siege ram push into the base of the opponent. Still only at 12 light cavs though. The Rams looking a little bit clueless over here, just wandering around, as the onagers are trying to take down this ram and prevent the traps from being taken down. The traps, one of them ends up dying, the other one is 1 HP, so a skirmisher could kill it. And did you see that hero skirm as he threw a javelin at that trap to kill it? Miguel is down to 90 vills, so neither does Miguel or Sitaux have gold income. By the way, I would like to highlight that Sitaux is so busy fighting that he doesn't even notice that he could easily take that gold mine, but this is what he needs to do. Send in a light cav, he's missing a lot of upgrades, but this is the part of the eco for Miguel that he could hit. That's 20 vills on wood, half of Miguel's wood income. And even more importantly, that's a massive miss micro from Miguel. What is he doing? He kamikazes all of his skirmishers into the light cav of the opponent, and now Sitaux is going to clean up that entire army, and suddenly Miguel is going to be down to 10 pikemen and 4 skirms, and Miguel says it's over. Sitaux beats Vikings on Arabia. I was judging him for, not sniping Vikings, and you probably are saying that, hey, I shouldn't have judged him. I still believe that. You see how hard it is for him to beat Vikings here? It's because Vikings are an insane civilization in Empire Wars. I just feel like it would have been so much easier for him to snipe Vikings. 12 hours idle time on Miguel though. I mean, Sitaux sort of did what he had to close this game out, but it would have been so much easier if he just didn't have to face Vikings as it is. The timeline was very, very hectic and chaotic. Look at this imp time difference. That is, ladies and gentlemen, a 10 minutes Imperial Age time difference. So let's see now what he actually sniped, because now I'm curious. He sniped Berbers? Berbers? Why? I mean, I can see Berbers being scary, but probably not as scary as Vikings. In retrospective, we can say it was a positive thing because he still ended up winning against the Vikings, so good news for Sitaux. His Berber snipe is not gonna be judged that hard, but I feel like he could have made his life so much easier if he just sniped Vikings here. Anyways, he's gonna win with Chinese, and the Vikings, the first pick of Miguel, will now be gone. And now we will go to one of the home maps for Miguel. Could be Northern Isles, or it could be Frigid Lake or Greenland. So most of these maps have some sort of water element. The Frigid Lake has very, very little, but Greenland and Northern Isles both have decent amount of water and potentially naval combat in there. So let's see if Miguel actually wants to go for those. Sitaux, I'm not sure how good he is as a water player, but he mostly plays land maps because the way that he grinds is he's playing a lot of ranked games. So I'm not sure how good Sitaux is going to be against Miguel on water, where Miguel is a very, very good water player. So, let's see if we have the next game up over here. Not yet, so we're waiting for the players to get ready. And then we'll jump into game number 2. We'll have to add the score here to Sitaux. And as I said, Sitaux definitely has the chance here to defeat Miguel. And winning the first game Runestones is going to be extremely important because from this point on, all Sitaux needs to do is just win his home maps, which is easier than what it sounds, but in reality, you assume that you are stronger than your opponent on your own home maps. So from this point on, Sitaux just needs to ensure that he's not making any major mistakes on his home maps, and he's gonna be well on a course to get into the main event of Red Bull Wololo 4. He was never a player in Red Bull Vololos. Miguel played in Red Bull Wololo 2, but didn't play in 1 and 3. So Miguel's trying to get his second appearance in Red Bull Vololos, whereas Sitaux is looking for his first ever Red Bull Wololo participation, and it would also be one of the biggest performances of Sitau's entire competitive career. So Sitaux obviously is probably a little nervous as well when he plays this one. Let's look at the civilizations while we're waiting over here. We didn't do that before the set. We have Franks, Khmer, Vietnamese, Japanese, Britons, Saracens, and Mayans. On the left side for Miguel, Sitaux is going to have Tatars, Koreans, Magyars, Byzantines, Huns, Malians, and Lithuanians. We haven't seen Lithuanians for a while now, so I'm curious how those are going to be performing, but I like Lithuanians quite a bit for Sitaux, so that is a good choice. We're going to Northern Isles, and we will have Japanese versus Koreans here on Northern Isles. So, welcome to Northern Isles, which kind of feels like islands, but it's misleading. And the reason why it's misleading is we're going to have Koreans for Sitaux in yellow, making an archer range back at home. So, he will transport archers to the opponent's island. Other side, we're going to have Japanese for Miguel in red. He's going to do the exact same thing. So the reason why this map is a little different from islands is because you have your fishing eco always at the back, which means that you're relatively safe in terms of food eco, and you don't have to commit that much into water combat early on. And you also start with a transport ship, which means that you can actually land very early on with wheels and forward buildings. And it seems like we're gonna have the scout of Sitaux coming to the other side, see what Miguel is up to. He's the one that takes the first hit, so he's gonna have to run around overall. Now, for Sitaux, remember that he's Koreans, so he's gonna have the extra armor on those archers early on, which is a nice little advantage when it comes to archer wars. Other side, we are gonna have some wars coming up for Miguel in this one, and for the time being, It looks like he's going to start adding fishing ships as well. That's, I think, the right thing to do, and I expect both players to do it. Sitaux is actually opening with fire galleys, but just for defensive purposes. Obviously, Japanese fishing ships surviving longer is going to help quite a bit. Plus, you can also afford that to mill a lot easier. As Sitaux is going to spot the archers, that's what matters for him. So he sees, okay, there's archers coming my way, so he's going to be prepared to fight that. And in fact, he actually goes for skirmisher defense with archer armor in but no fletching. Is he going to transport? Oh, I like this. He's waiting for a transport of the opponent and will defend with skirms, but will also send 2 archers over to the opponent's island. Now I wonder how much damage those 2 archers could cause, because eventually you can just run away from 2 archers, especially when your base is fully walled. One thing I kind of dislike for Sitaux is that he's falling behind economically because he's not adding fishing ships, and you see that that's something that Miguel does. In fact, Miguel already had the second dock, and Miguel's gonna have a crazy fish boom here. Archers now in for Sitaux, as Miguel, riding the wave of that fishing eco, he's gonna be the one clicking to Castle Age by a massive margin. Look at that. He's very, very close to clicking up to Castle Age, whereas on the other side, Sitaux, not even remotely close. Here come the archers, only to be intercepted by an archer over here. And while the defense upgrade is in there for Miguel, a scout should be able to clean this up relatively easily. So, at this point, the cleanups have happened, and now the fire galley is coming from Sitaux, finally finding the fishing eco of Miguel. Miguel only made 1 fire galley, so it looks like he could be in danger of losing some of his fishing ships, but obviously the sturdy fishing ships of Japanese help quite a bit contain this damage. Castle Age is gonna be coming in approximately at even times at the end, but Sitaux had to use the market quite heavily to achieve that. Still now, Miguel will be forced to make a couple more galleys, and I think that here you can have some elevation. I'm not 100% sure, but there might be some small hills here on the land patch that the ship can sail, and that could cause elevation advantage to one of the ships. This is not a good fight for Sitaux over here, because Miguel's got repair wheels coming in. Slowly but surely that fire galley goes down, but Miguel lost a lot of HP. And at the end, Sitaux's fleet here is gonna be cleaned up, and the next wave of enemies comes in here on Miguel's island. By the way, this is still open for Sitaux. I'm not sure if he knows that, but it very much seems like he doesn't. And considering that his skirms are all over here, and he sent them over, this could be troublesome. Now, speaking of being open, Sitaux also finds a way into Miguel's base, and this is gonna be painful to Miguel to clean up. This is gonna be very painful to clean up, in fact. It's 2 archers and skirms. It's not the end of the world, but that's archers with fletching. And look at this mass migration that is just required to chase all these archers. And at this point, the best thing Miguel can do is make skirms himself and take down the archers, because the archers are the main damage-dealing unit. And behind this one, Sitaux is defending well back at home. A little bit of a miss micro though from Sitaux. He runs into the TC fire, so this push actually does way less damage than anticipated. War galley coming in for Miguel, so he wants to start pushing the water, because if the initial landings fail on this map, you will end up going for naval combat anyways. Let's see if Sitaux is gonna do that as well. And this is where it's going to be somewhat troublesome for Sitaux that he's Koreans, and he doesn't have demo ships, so he can't just take those fire ships down easily. But guess what? This is what Sitaux is thinking about. Forward Siege Workshop and Stable. And Miguel probably won't have an idea about that one. And since this is still open, it very much seems like Miguel actually is making a monastery, and we'll figure out what's going on. He finds this landing over here, and it's going to be very, very lucky for him that he started making a monastery earlier, because this way he's gonna be able to convert the initial knights very, very easily. And now the wheels will have to run back to the transport. The first wheel killed in the game belongs to Sitaux, killed by Miguel here. Now I like this quite a bit. Sitaux brings in a fire galley and takes down this transport ship, which means that now we have no transport for these archers to escape. A spearman comes in here to help out, and towers. Sitaux's gonna start making towers, As the wheels come out to try and destroy the mangonel, the knight went down, but there's a second knight over here, so this isn't going to work well for Miguel, as the mangonel needs to get a good ground attack in on the archers. It will actually do so. Monk comes in here to get a conversion, villagers from Sitaux repairing the mangonel, but the knight goes down and there is no second knight coming in here to help out. A second mangonel pops out though, tries to take down the wheels. Wheels still repairing over here, as that is just going to be friendly fire from Sitaux. Oh my goodness. He's gonna end up taking down some of these wheels, but I think the friendly fire was actually more devastating than the actual combat. Still, if this knight finishes off these wheels, and it has a realistic chance of doing so, especially with this weak wheel on the front, then that's still going to be a decent advantage here for Sitaux, and indeed, he's gonna do that. Now, in exchange, behind this one, Sitaux lost his entire fishing eco, so Sitaux's economy is still way weaker than that of his opponents, and his opponent is on 3 TCs, including 2 that actually cover stone, so defensive castle for war wagons could be a possibility, and now we're gonna see Japanese knights coming in here. One good thing for Sitaux is that his eco is gonna be untouched on land, so while he lost water, he's still the one applying pressure and forcing his opponent to defend. Let's see. Oh, he wants a castle drop. Sitaux wants a castle drop, and I actually mentioned the war wagons, but I actually switched to civilizations. Miguel is Japanese, so Miguel can't go for war wagons. Sitaux can. So, in this situation, Sitaux probably needs to transport like 10 wheels, and if he castle drop this gold mine, that could be pretty devastating. The big question, does Sitaux have the map control that's necessary to drop a castle here? Because I don't think that's the case. He's up against a large amount of knights here. I don't think that Sitaux can drop a castle here. Sitaux's best chance to drop a castle might be on this side, and needless to say, he needs to continue onwards with war wagons. But I would love to see something like that from Sitaux, going for a castle drop. Here it goes. So, the question now is where you're going to drop that castle at. He's got stone for like 1.5 castle or so, and he's still 4 on stone. So there's a chance we're going to see a second castle as well. And indeed, we're probably gonna have like a sneaky castle here, sort of a set things up style castle. Something that just ensures that you can safely produce war wagons. And it very much seems like Miguel will not spot this. I sort of like this castle. Miguel behind this one is actually having a pretty decent fish boom, so now he's ahead by 18 wheels. The difference starts to become concerning for Sitaux, but this castle is gonna go up. That's for sure. Behind this one, as I said, Sitaux has lost all his water control, but he's the one with a foothold on the opponent's island, and from this point on, I think Sitaux is gonna work with like full-on war wagons and press on, take down this TC, and drop a second castle soon. I don't think that Miguel knows about this landing just yet, but he will soon figure out the hard way. Eco upgrade-wise and overall economy-wise, Miguel has a big lead though. So what Sitaux needs to make sure is that his wheel production is consistent, and he can sort of at least keep pace with his opponent to a certain extent. So he needs to be sure that he's like 10 wheels or so a bit ahead, or apart from his opponent. Defensive castle coming up here for Miguel, I like that quite a bit. This will also deny this wood line, so Sitaux will have nothing to do with these wheels. He can't just chop this wood line, and that is going to be a race into Imperial soon. Sitaux actually wanted to see what that building is because he saw the builder but didn't see the building, so he wanted to see what's up there with that, and it very much seems like it's gonna be just a castle. And now Sitaux is going to buy himself up to Imperial. That's the right thing to do. His eco is still stretched out very thin compared to that of his opponents. And because of that, Miguel is gonna have a comparable imp time, but still just a little bit of a bigger or like faster Imperial, like by half a minute, could be a massive advantage here for Sitaux. Now, keep in mind that, as I said, Miguel is gonna make a market here, sell his stone, go up into Imperial, and he's going to be able to afford the second castle by the time he reaches Imp. He will make a second castle here, so that he can actually hold this position against the assault of Sitaux. I think Sitaux wants a second castle as well. Oh, but the counterattack, that's so smart from Miguel. He had a bunch of knights that he couldn't use back at home. Guess what? He will send them forward. And now this is full panic mode for Sitaux. He's gonna have to scramble for defense. These knights don't have any upgrades on them, so the TC makes a quick work of them. But still, it's definitely annoying for Sitaux to deal with. As you see that Miguel's knights are trying to body block that knight from accessing the mangonel. And it very much seems like Sitaux is going to clean this up relatively easily, but it wasn't ideal by any means. Now here come the war wagons, and they will just completely ignore that fire ship, and well, Miguel has one monk over here. If he's not paying attention, that monk is just going to die, and Sitaux is like, choo choo, here come the war wagons. As Sitaux focuses down the monk, not losing a war wagon to conversion, and he could easily retaliate. Right now, as we have a famous Korean cav archer over here for Sitaux cleaning up that knight. Right now, the eco lead for Miguel is brutal, and he's only 30 seconds behind compared to his opponent in Imperial Age timing. However, Miguel could cause a lot of chaos here with those 4 war wagons. So that could actually buy himself some time and, more importantly, distract Miguel. While Miguel is busy dealing with this one, Sitaux could start grabbing his buildings here. As I said, Miguel will need a second castle here to solidify this position and guarantee a victory in the trap war. Sitaux's plan was the same here, but because he was forced off from his stone mine and forced to make a defensive tower, that's not going to be enough. And he's also missing a university for chemistry, which means he can't immediately think about bombard cannons. That's gonna hurt quite badly, but in exchange, Miguel's gonna have to tech into Elite Skirm, and while the economy for Miguel is way better, and that's something that resembles the first game, there is technically a chance for Sitaux to finish this game just like he did in the first one. Make the game chaotic, and I mean, at this point you're forcing your opponent to make elite skirms. I still believe that Miguel has a massive lead here, but if Sitaux plays aggressive enough, he could potentially once again surprise Miguel just like he did in the previous game. Because one thing is sure, if these castles go down for Miguel, he's in big trouble. Now, as I said, he's gonna have 2 castles, so he needs to consistently produce traps on both. Chemistry on the way for Sitaux in an effort to take down the traps over here with the bombard cannons. That second castle is late for Sitaux, but as I said, that is because he was delayed very heavily because of that counter landing. Massive eco lead now for our red player, but we already have 2 traps shelling that castle, quite a lot of wheels repairing, and Sitaux doesn't have any repair wheels. I don't like this for Sitaux. I think Sitaux is dead. If he loses this foothold, it's game over because he's never gonna recover from that. And I think that he's gonna lose his foothold because that counter landing from Miguel may have won the game. Because this way, he delayed the second castle, and because Sitaux has to make that second castle right now, he can't repair the first one, and he's going to lose the first castle immediately. And because Sitaux was delayed, he was also delayed to university and chemistry. That allows Miguel to play without being in the fear of bombard cannons from the opponent. Sitaux is going to try and hold this one, and at this point the best thing he can hope for is like an even trade of castles. Miguel is out of stone, so this could still work out, but yeah, Sitaux realizes that, like, Sitaux actually resigned at the worst possible moment, by the way. Because if Sitaux waits for 5 seconds longer, he would have destroyed that castle, because Miguel didn't have the stone to repair. I mean, I think that Sitaux was long dead, and Miguel just outplayed him in every single aspect of the game. This was not even remotely close to being good enough from Sitaux, so everything that Miguel did in this game was way better than that of his opponents. But maybe Sitaux could have, like, if Sitaux waited for 5 more seconds, he could have maybe seen that castle go down, and with bombard cannons he could have been able to take down those traps and start pushing. Slim chance, but he sort of had a slim chance in the first game as well, and ended up closing it out. So there could have been a shot, I think, for Sitaux, but I don't blame him for resigning, because the situation was looking quite grim, I shall say. With that, Japanese are gone for Miguel, and we get where is that? Koreans gone for Sitaux. Alright, I'm gonna take like a half a minute of a break or so until they launch up game number 3, and then we will continue with game number 3, first home map of Sitaux. As I said, I believe that Sitaux, well, I know that Sitaux just needs to win his own home maps now. So it's not the end of the world that he lost Northern Isles over here, but he needs to ensure that he wins his own home maps. So far, the general execution seemed to be better from Miguel, which is a point of concern for Sitaux, but more about that after I return from this small break. So, welcome back, everybody. We will jump into game number 3 over here, I believe, in a matter of moments. So, available options for Sitaux. Mountain Range if he wants to play a slow-paced game. Frigid Lake, or no, Frigid Lake is not. Sitaux could also pick Meadow, which could work out nicely if he wants to play a little bit more of an aggressive style gameplay. And he could pick Acclivity, which is also more of the aggressive style. We're going to Acclivity apparently, and we will jump in a Tatars versus Vietnamese matchup. Tatars is not unprecedented on this map. Vietnamese is interesting, let's just say that. From Miguel, I'm not saying it's a bad civilization, in fact I kinda like it, but it's definitely more of the unconventional ones. Still, Vietnamese give you quite a lot of nice advantages, like extra HP on the archers, plus the wood discount on the eco upgrades. These are actually very, very helpful things for Vietnamese. So, as I said, it's somewhat unconventional, but I think it's a good civilization pick overall for Miguel over here. Mobility is going to be a concern, especially if Tatars get to Cav Archers, so this is what Sitaux has to work for. And also, we could see Tatar Cav Archers with the insane Pierce Armor. On the other side, we could see Retina Archers in very, very late game. Scouts opening from Sitaux, but I don't think that he's going to accomplish much with that, because Miguel is rolling like crazy. So, we're gonna have immediately an archer range being dropped as well by Sitaux, as that is going to be for skirmishers. The skirmishers could do quite a lot of harassment on these wood lines, but that's probably the best thing that they can accomplish in the long run. So, now we have a Spearman out as well for Miguel to deal with these scouts. It looks like Miguel is just gonna potentially boom into Castle Age here. He's slowly massing archers, not really willing to move out. So, there's a chance he will just try to play this one safe and defensive, and try to go up to Castle Age for crossbows early on. Other side, Sitaux is also going archers, but he might be going for a much more aggressive game plan over here. So, let's see. We got the Spearman moving forward and a Scout as well. The Scout is heavily damaged, so I don't think that it can pick off a Villager. Sitau's got a harder time walling his base than Miguel has. Miguel actually has a relatively easily wallable base, whereas Sitaux definitely had a harder time, so Sitau's gonna have to dispatch the archers to keep control over that area. So, at this point, it is still alright scenario for Sitaux. He's grabbing fletching, whereas as I said, Miguel is just booming into Castle Age here. He has gotten Horse Color. One of the things that Vietnamese give you here is that you can actually go for Horse Color as well quite early on, because you don't need to spend wood on it. So you can easily afford Double Barrel Axe and Horse Color, not something that you can do with most archer builds. So the economy of Miguel is actually going to be very, very strong behind this one. Sitaux, on the other hand, you may have noticed that he's using the market a tiny bit. He's actually selling his stone. There's a chance we will see something like triple range cav archers, and I wouldn't mind that, to be honest. This map is aggressive enough that you could actually use triple range cav archers to secure the ridge, and then forward siege workshop here, and that could be very troublesome for Miguel to deal with. Miguel's gonna pull up the archers. Sitaux should make 1 or 2 skirms to make sure that he doesn't die to those. And remember that even Sitaux crossbows with Thumbring could work well as well. Upgrade-wise, we do have a fletching missing here for Sitaux, so it takes a somewhat premature engagement and ends up losing his archers. The scouts will come in and will help out eventually cleaning this one up, but it was far from ideal for Sitaux. In fact, I'm not even sure if he's gonna be able to clean this one up entirely, but it seems like he will. So, all the archers go down over here. Some reinforcements are trickling in from Miguel, but by the time they arrive, Sitaux should be walled, and Sitaux can make a couple more archers or skirms to hold his walls. So, now we're gonna have the walls opened up here from Sitaux as he loses that one scout on the left side. We're gonna have a very, very fast Castle Age here for Sitaux. I'm just noticing that he's blazing fast to Castle Age. Maybe Miguel spent too much time in feudal massing archers, because right now Sitaux is like massively beating him to Castle Age. Now it's a bit of a misplay that he's sending the villagers alone, and all of that forward siege workshop could be gone if Miguel spots that, and Miguel will spot it. So it's very, very sloppy over there from Sitaux. He's got the crossbows in soon though. He could have waited just a little bit, but now he's got crossbows with Thumbring, and that should allow him to get control over the ridge. He can continue with crossbows or eventually switch to cav archers, but whatever happens, he's got a minute advantage into Castle Age, and he could just easily deny this gold mine from Miguel. Miguel is in trouble here, because Miguel doesn't have an easily accessible backup gold mine to work with, and indeed, he's off from gold. He's going for double stable, so he wanted to go for knights, but Tatars have a good response to that. They can mix in a couple of camels, and I'm starting to like Sitau's situation here really good. Still 15 seconds away from Castle Age is Miguel, but I don't think that he will be able to afford +2 defense and a couple of knights as well. And there is no market for Miguel, so he can't even sell resources in an effort to, you know, just get some more knights out. Now, it looks like there is an overchop here from Sitaux in exchange, and Sitaux has already lost 2 wills in this game. You can make it free with this will being picked off, and then for whatever reason he disengages this. So there is some considerable sloppiness from both sides in this one. Still, at the end of the day, I think I like Sitau's position here a little bit better. He forced his opponent off from gold. Now, Miguel is back on gold, but these crossbows will still just keep rampaging the economy of the opponent here, as in exchange, Miguel will try to launch a counterattack with these crossbows. Mangonels are slowly rolling out for Miguel. He needs to be careful, because this Mangonel is very exposed to knights popping out of this stable, and I feel like despite the amount of pressure that Sitaux should be able to do, we're not seeing that much damage onto the eco of Miguel. So I'm not so sure if this is gonna be enough for Sitaux to compensate for the fact that he's going to fall behind economically quite heavily from such a push. Let's see, some crossbows trying to harass wood lines, and now Miguel is actually playing for wood line control. This one, like this group of crossbows, will go for the gold, but Miguel is also playing for wood line control, just trying to stretch out the defenses of Sitaux. Neither of the players have ballistics right now, so picking off wheels is not easy with them, but it's still possible if the opponent doesn't react, and that's the case here. Disaster for Sitaux! What's happening to him? The crossbows just walked into his base, and now it's an absolute disaster. Holy smokes. Now he's in trouble because he lost 7 wheels. Miguel's got a lot of idols, but at least the idol wheels are still alive. So he's gonna be able to recover, and as I said, the mangonels are dangerously exposed to knights over here. I think that Miguel is playing this one a lot better now. The mangonel goes down just before the knight would fall. Still, at this point, Miguel is at 4 army, his opponent is at 25. So it's a now or never for Sitaux. He needs to push this one right now, and he kinda has to forget about the mangonel push. He needs to focus on this, exactly. Raid, raid, and raid. Just make sure that your opponent is gonna have no reasonable wood access. Still, however, you already have the Sur TC coming up for Miguel, which is gonna make life even harder for our yellow player over here. Mangonel now comes in, takes a shot, misses the target for the time being. Sitaux once again splits away, but this mangonel buys time for the wheels to get a castle set up here. And I think that the Cav Archer switch now should be on the horizon for Sitaux, because otherwise he will eventually eat one of those big mangonel shots, and that's exactly what we are seeing over here. He can try using the Tar Heel bonus to try and fire down heels against the mangonels for some added effect, as he is going to take down a mangonel here on the left side. Still without ballistics is Sitaux, however. Right now the ecos are dead even, so if Sitaux continues to be aggressive, he could still sort of turn things around over here with relative ease, I would say. But now it looks like the crossbows will take down the mangonel, and well, another mangonel could fall here. A little bit sloppy from Miguel, as I love this skirm here for Sitaux. This could harass that wood line forever, and one thing is sure, Miguel doesn't really have a safe wood income right now, so you see that his wood lines are sort of all over the place, so to say. Anyways, lead skirms coming in for our Vietnamese player. He just wants to make sure that he doesn't have to fight a lot of those crossbows. Elite skirms would also allow him to defend his wood lines with just a couple of them, so you can stop a group of 6 crossbows with like 3 elite skirms or so, and that could actually be a helpful tool to defend your base. And once again, a mangonel goes down relatively easily over here, so Sitaux is taking some cost-efficient engagements now, I would say, as we will have a 4th TC coming in here, even for Miguel. These TCs are not meant to like mass produce wheels and boom. These TCs are only meant to protect wood lines. That's the main reason why we are seeing that. So, on the front, we have a Cav Archer transition happening finally for Sitaux. Cav Archers will allow a lot more mobility for him, a lot more raiding potential, and it's also harder to lose Cav Archers against mangonels than it is to lose crossbowmen. So it gives a little bit more safety as well for Sitaux, plus a unit that actually scales a lot better into Imperial Age than Tatar crossbows do, even though it would still be awkward to see this game go into Imperial when, honestly, like, Sitaux is trying to be aggressive, but he's nowhere close to being able to affect the game. The good news for him is that Miguel's eco is also awful. The thing, however, is that while Miguel is accumulating stone, Sitaux is wide open for a castle drop, to be honest. Like, knights and mangonels for Miguel, especially if Miguel grabs +2 defense, could allow him to drop a castle on this rage, and then you just go for Rattan Archers and go directly into the opponent's base. So, crossbows here are still trying to just take down some wheels from wood lines, as both players have quite a lot of idols, and really, Sitaux is playing a nice wood control game here. So, control this wood line, control this one, and the thing is that Miguel has an 11 wheels lead, but Miguel has 35 idols consistently. This game very much resembles to the first one. There's a couple of things to look at. Number one, Miguel struggling to, control his resources because he actually has inferior army compared to his opponent. And because of that, Sitaux is able to force a lot of idle time on him. But it's also about the fact that Sitaux doesn't allow his opponent to get to the outside rim for extra wood or gold. A knight comes in and takes down the mangonel. The second mangonel is still alive, and a castle is gonna go up here for Miguel. This castle is crucial because this with Botkin arrow will be able to protect these two wood lines. So the wood control plan for Sitaux will pretty much fall apart now. He still micros down that mangonel at the back of Miguel's base, so he still has a bunch of crossbows that can deny potential TC foundations on these gold mines, and he might need to start working towards denying gold, because his opponent is starting to run out of gold at his starting base, and eventually he will have to venture out to take some gold from the outside. Now we will have 2 more TCs being added here by Sitaux, so he's preparing for a long game in this one. In the long run, I really like the Cav Archers more than what Vietnamese can field here, because this map requires quite a lot of mobility. Now we have Ballistics and Thumb Ring as well, and these are the type of fights that Sitaux sort of needs. Go in, pick off 2 or 3 wheels, disengage, and just keep this pressure up on the opponent. Now we have Rattan Archers, something that Sitaux is going to struggle dealing with using the Cav Archers for now. Once he gets to Imperial, and he will have all the Cav Archer upgrades, that will be an amazing unit, and I think Tatar Cav Archer with full upgrades has comparable pierce armor to Rattan Archer, and now if you look at here, this is what I was referencing to. Sitaux using these leftover group of crossbows to deny additional stone and gold deposits is actually a very, very nice way to control resources, and once again I kind of see that Miguel's eco, while it's there in numbers, it's 80 wheels versus 77, it's just not there in quality. You see that there is so many idols, 16, 20 idols consistently all over the game. 2 hours, 38 minutes of idle time as opposed to just 32 minutes. And more importantly, as we have a crossbow group of Miguel trying to sneak around the base of Sitaux, Sitaux sort of had issues with counterattacks in the previous games as well, especially the Arabia game. Now it looks like the Rattans will eventually clean this up, but they are fighting against the hill. That's actually very sloppy from Miguel. Even though these are Rattan Archers and they have 5 pierce armor, you don't want to fight against the hill against Tatars. Now it looks like the mangonels will be shelling the stables and the archer ranges over here on the front, and Sitaux is gonna have to realize that, oh shoot, the back of his base is getting pushed. Another castle will be built here by Miguel. Miguel is actually selling quite a lot of resources to be able to buy a castle. I don't like this. I mean, I understand he needs a defensive castle on a gold and stone mine, but that was a lot of resources spent on making a castle, and that castle will still not hold like this part of his base, and the Cav Archers could come in. I would love to see Sitaux sending 3 Cav Archers here to just harass that wood line, because that would be so impactful. Currently the biggest problem for Sitaux is that his Cav Archers are in one group, and they're not actually actively raiding the opponent. Still, behind this one, Sitaux is slowly grinding down the opponent's economy, and if you take a look at Miguel, he's at 87 wheels. Now it is 100 wheels for Sitaux. So behind this aggressive gameplay over here and the mangonel push on the TC, the Cav Archer raids, Sitaux is also having a very decent 4 TC boom, and while a couple of Rattan Archers will counterattack, making this a lot more annoying than it should be, I still believe that I like Sitau's position a lot more, especially if these Cav Archers join the party and start picking off wheels, because one thing is sure, Miguel will not have the time to, keep looking at everywhere. And that's why Cav Archers are so hard to deal with, because you have to look everywhere to deal with them. There is still a siege workshop for Miguel, but his mangonel is just halfway done only, and I think that TC is also going down from Miguel. Now, these Rattan Archers are actually very annoying here for Sitaux, and he also had a push on his base from the left side with crossbows. So right now it's 22 wheels killed from both sides. Now that kill count increases though for Sitaux as he takes down another TC from Miguel. Looking at the resources, Miguel is floating a lot of wood, but the wood price is kind of low, so even if he sells it, he's not gonna be able to click into Imperial. Red Archers will still be a hard unit to fight against, like, straight up. I think what Sitaux needs, though, is a castle. A castle over here. Keep in mind that Sitaux doesn't have a reliable gold income over here, as we are gonna have the Siege Workshop going down from Miguel. Miguel's floating a lot of wood. The problem is that he can't really do much with that wood, as we will have the crossbows still harassing Sitau's economy here quite heavily. I cannot disapprove Sitaux. Like, I don't really know what he could do with that much wood, but selling it for 14 each feels a little bit in this one. Anyways, now the knights are coming in here from Miguel. He's actually doing a nice job microing this one, and Sitau's cav numbers are sort of disappearing. Nice move to pop out the knight on the other side. That's a beautiful move from Miguel in this one. And this way, Sitau's push kind of stalls out even better for Miguel. He finds a patch of gold miners, so Sitaux is going to be down a couple more gold miners. Both players have absolutely horrendous eco balances. Neither of them have... Like, look at Sitaux, 47 on wood, what is that? 12 on gold, that's a disaster. Other side, Miguel's eco is sort of in ruins as well. And imagine if those two cav archers from Sitaux was here. That would be minus 10 wills from Miguel there very, very easily. It's a mystery to me, how is it possible that Sitaux has 700 wood and he still has unreseeded farms? When you're floating 1,000 wood, please, for the love of God, just turn on the auto-reseed farming. I mean, I sometimes understand that you don't want to turn auto-reseed on early on, but when you're floating 1,000 wood, just turn it on. Everybody's gonna be better off that way, especially when you have to micro at 10 places, and you will avoid having your eco being an absolute mess. It looks like Sitaux is going to be able to clean up the crossbows over here. Nice micro from Miguel though, taking down some more cav archers. So at this point, the big problem for Miguel is that while Miguel is definitely closer from clicking into Imperial, the other side, Sitaux has a massive economy advantage. What Sitaux doesn't have is gold income though. So he is right now sitting on 6 town centers, going for a forward siege workshop, adding some scorpions, only to have this siege workshop completely denied by the Red Archers. I think that because we're actually having increasing Red Archer numbers, soon Kashyyyk will be a thing, or should be a thing, for Sitaux, although Sitaux is selling stone heavily, so he wants to go up, and Miguel was floating 2.5k wood, so he needs to sell it, but as I said, it's hard to sell efficiently when the market prices are so bottomed out. I think nothing represents more the, like, sort of lack of balance for the economies of the players than the fact that the wood price is already very low. And that's an interesting and aggressive castle spot over here. Something that Sitaux is gonna have a hard time cleaning up, because the Red Archers seem to be sufficient to ensure that this castle goes up. Miguel's gonna lose wills here, but Miguel is imping, whereas his opponent isn't, and if this castle goes up to start producing Red Archers, you can start pushing the base of the opponent directly, and while this castle definitely yielded some scary moments for Miguel, it actually is going up, and now Sitaux needs to find a way to go up into Imperial himself. He's trying to go for Tatar skirms, but I think at this point, his window to win may have already disappeared, I'm not gonna lie. Sitaux is still selling stone, and while that's going to allow him to go into Imperial, he doesn't have a defensive castle, so now all of his eco is breached, and I think his window was in the mid-castle-ish timeframe to raid with cav archers. For quite a while, we haven't seen Sitaux raiding with cav archers, and I'm honestly not sure what Sitaux spent his resources on. He had, like, 140 wills now, massive eco lead compared to his opponent, yet I didn't see overwhelming amounts of cav archers or a knight switch or whatsoever, so I'm somewhat puzzled where all the resources for Sitaux went. 36 seconds from Imperial Age is Miguel, and Miguel is 17 on stone. So Miguel is doing what he has to right now. He will probably click Chemistry immediately, because he needs Bombard Cannons. And then Bombard Cannon and Rattan Archer could be a reasonable comp, and then just push on with castles. He already has one castle on the ridge. One here could actually secure the right side of his base, or alternatively he can actually push up in the middle of the opponent's base. So, Chemistry Bracer coming in immediately, as Sitaux will try to tech into Light Cav. Now, these Light Cavs will actually be pretty sturdy. They will have 5 Pierce Armor, or plus 5 Pierce Armor with Silk Armor, if Sitaux researches Silk Armor, but he needs a castle for that. Now, these Elite Skirms don't have plus 2 defense, so believe it or not, Rattan Archers eat them for breakfast. However, Sitaux's economy is still stronger, and the thing is that Miguel's economy is very, very weak right now. He's pushing Sitaux's base, but Sitaux has a lot of space at the back to fall back to. And the big mangonel shot! Oh my goodness, this could be a game-deciding thing. So game-deciding that we're gonna rewind. Because this one is enormous. As I said, I just mentioned that Miguel's economy is quite weak. And especially if the Light Cav get in here, Miguel could lose 50 vills in a matter of moments. Replenishing those Rattan Archers is just a distant dream for Miguel here, and I think this might be the final moments for Miguel. Because I don't think that this castle is gonna be allowed to go up. That's still 50% away, and the Light Cav need to focus the vills here though, if you wanna stop that castle. But look at this, behind this one, Sitaux is just raiding everything from Miguel. Miguel is trying his best to get this castle up, but what worked here is not gonna work here, and that was the final push probably from Miguel, because there's no way he can afford to rebuild that army. That is 80%, and yeah, he's pulling everything. But this is an actual true doubt castle. Even if it goes up, it's game over. It's being trapped already by yellow, and it seems like Sitaux, his aggressive play transitioning into a boom worked out well. Now I have to say that this was everything but a clean game from him. Both players had an extremely unbalanced and messy eco, but it seems like Sitaux had a better balance between aggressive gameplay and the boom behind, whereas Miguel, he had a hard time cleaning up those crossbows all over the time. Part of that comes from the fact that Sitaux actually played really well with the crossbows and just out-microed those mangonels nicely. But maybe if Miguel goes for Elite Skirms a little earlier, that could have been a different thing. Because I didn't see a lot of Elite Skirms from Miguel, and that could have helped so much to clean up the crossbows that were harassing his wood line so much. Because if you take a look at this one, even after all this push, Miguel has almost double the idle time. So the raids from Sitaux were very impactful, and this is once again pushing Sitaux into an advantage. You see it's the gradual increase of vills overall, as there were some bad moments as well for Sitaux. So you see that he at some point started losing military numbers quite massively, and he never had the numbers after that. But this Light Cav power spike and then the ability to just raid the opponent's eco to death, stop that castle, was able to secure the win for him. Wasn't really clean from Sitaux, nor it was from Miguel, but Sitaux is the one that can chalk up another win on the scoreboard. And as I said, all Sitaux needs to do to win the set is to win his own home maps. So Miguel at some point will have to take away a home map from the opponent. Obviously, it's a must for Miguel to save or to win his own home maps. Miguel still has Frigid Lake and Greenland as his home maps. Now, based on what we have seen on Northern Islands, I think I am favoring Miguel heavily on Greenland, and I'm going a 50-50 on Frigid Lake. Frigid Lake is actually a fairly well-defendable map, so I am leaning towards Miguel having the upper hand in that one. But as I said, he's gonna have to steal a game from Sitaux, either on Mountain Range or potentially on Meadow. I think Meadow could be a good place for Miguel to steal a game from Sitaux, because that's so aggressive, and I think that the execution of Miguel in these micro-heavy situations seem to be slightly better than Sitaux's execution, so there's a chance that Meadow could be the place where Miguel steals a home map from the opponent. it's a slim chance, obviously, for him, because his opponent will obviously focus very hard on, you know, winning his own home maps, but still, that's the best shot for Miguel, I would say. Nonetheless, we are gonna go into the fourth game over here. Sitaux one game ahead, but both of these players very much in this set. Neither of them are playing super clean. As we're going to Frigid Lake, I'll have to cross out some civilizations here. So Vietnamese are gone for Miguel, and Tatars are gone for Sitaux. So Sitaux used up his top 2 remaining civilizations so far, also used up Chinese. Other side, we have Vikings that was gone for Miguel. He also lost Vietnamese and Japanese. Speaking of Frigid Lake, this is going to be a Khmer pick from Miguel. And from Sitaux, a big question mark, but something like Lithuanians could be an interesting thing. Lithuanians would allow you to go for a dock immediately, and you probably could even add a little bit more villas on wood, so you can add some fishing ships and still be able to go for like scouts or so. That could be something to consider here. Obviously, it's not the same thing as you would have on Lithuanians random map games, but still could be a nice early advantage. It looks like Sitaux is just gonna go for Huns, though. So, sort of standard hybrid map civilization. I actually like Khmer here a lot better, though. So, that should be a bit of an advantage for Miguel until Cav Archers show up. We're going to have Miguel on the right side as red Khmer. Left side is going to be yellow Huns for Sitaux. And Sitaux is probably going to do the exact same thing that he did in the previous game. Go for a scouts into archers, and then we will see if we go Cav Archers style play. Other side, the Khmer player is going to open scouts as well to match the opponent's scouts over here. Still, the early raiding potential is higher for Miguel, because Miguel can always jump into houses to defend his villas, whereas his opponent is going to be playing wide open. Fun fact, in Empire Wars, each and every civilization starts with houses, including Huns, so this is how the Hunnic house models look like. Something that you can't build in a normal game, but that's how it looks like if you could actually build that. So yeah, these are Hunnic houses. Technically, you could actually delete these. So you could just say, okay, whatever, delete. Because they just take up space, but for now they actually serve a good purpose as wall. But you can just delete these, for example, here at the back, to buy some space for yourself if you want to. Not a primary thing, obviously there is more important things to focus on right now. So, scouts now pushing into the base of Miguel here, but I feel like Miguel wanted them to push in here. It very much seemed like he wanted them to chase, and he lured them into a TC fire. Nicely done, sniping down one of the scouts. And it very much seems like Miguel is gonna play a very defensive game over here. Just try to make spears and scouts to make sure that his walls are up in time. Let's see if we have any archers though from Sitaux, and the answer is yes. In fact, in large quantities. So Sitaux is going for a super aggressive fuel age here. We will see if this pays off, because I think that Miguel will be fully walled, and Miguel with the Khmer farming will just boom up to castle age and make knights. So I'm somewhat skeptical about Sitau's game plan over here. Because I think by the time these archers start mattering, it's gonna be too late. Also, there's 2 archers garrisoned inside. If Sitaux wants to go for like an all-out fuel age push, he's gonna do it with all the archers he has, and apparently he forgot about 2 of them. Scouts counterattack coming in here from Miguel. All 3 of those scouts have reasonable HP, so they could definitely pick off a will like this lady, for example. The farm was deleted just in time by Sitaux to avoid it being yoinked by the scouts. Nice move from Miguel to take down that will. Now there is going to be a defensive spearman, but still, it's going to be annoying for Sitaux that scouts are running inside his eco. Now, the good news for him, as he's lining up his scouts right next to Miguel's walls, is that he's gonna have archers here, which would allow him to deny second layering to walls, and that could potentially maybe allow him to get through walls, especially if he takes this hill. He has to attack this tile because, or this one, because he needs to take this hill and attack down hills. Same thing with the archers. Use these archers, go up here, and that's how you should shoot that palisade wall, and indeed that's exactly what we are seeing. They will take down the wall with relative ease, and honestly, I feel like Miguel is underreacting this one, because he is now gonna get overrun by scouts, and while there is defensive spearmen for sure, these scouts and archers can just run past the TC. This is something that Miguel didn't actually anticipate, that they would just run past the TC because there is no one to garrison the town center. Now, still, the economy I think for Miguel is actually slightly stronger, but he definitely doesn't have the food economy that he wants to have. The problematic thing for Sitaux is that his base is very open for raiding, and I think Miguel is thinking about the same thing. Miguel is sending all his scouts back, and I think Sitaux knows that, because he sees this destroyed wall, and he should know that, hey, my opponent probably sent his scouts my way, and those scouts now have bloodlines and +1 defense. I don't like this from Sitaux, and Miguel is gonna have a very, very good shot at slaughtering the Wills here. It's all about breaking into the opponent's base, and I feel like if you are Sitaux and you want to play with archers, you're gonna be walling yourself, at least to a certain extent, and Sitaux invested way too few resources into walling here, and he's gonna pay the price now, because cleaning up 6 scouts with bloodlines and +1 defense soon and +1 attack is gonna be an absolute nightmare. Miguel's actually forced to mine stone here, because he's gonna have to make defensive towers, but at this point the only player that's losing Wills is gonna be Sitaux. Some more spears are coming out, but as I said, these scouts are sturdy enough to jump one spearman relatively easily, and that's exactly what we are seeing over here. They can just commit a fight right next to a spearman. Still, Sitaux is also picking off one Will from his opponent. It's hard to judge this game, because theoretically it's 4 Wills killed compared to 1, but Miguel in exchange had 20 minutes idle time as opposed to 2 minutes. So, in reality, I think the ecos are closer than what you would expect. I still believe that Miguel is ahead, especially if you add the Khmer farming bonus. And Miguel is gonna click up to Castle Age. Sitaux is gonna do the exact same thing. He actually made a defensive tower here that I think wasn't really needed. So, especially against scouts, I don't think that this tower is something that would have helped so much. But anyways, he's gonna click up to Castle Age as well in a matter of moments. There will be an advantage for Miguel, but Miguel is gonna go double stable knights. So here, I would say the condition for an okay game for Sitaux is that he needs to go for a lot of spearmen and then upgrade to crossbowmen. In exchange, Miguel needs to sort of wait until he has +2 defense and then jump on these archers, preferably before spearman support arrives. But the win condition for Miguel, or at least the game condition right now, is to be able to take down these archers. That's the most important thing. Everything else is less important. Sitaux only has 10 farmers, but those were all without horse color. Still, Sitaux has quite a lot of scouts, and he could use these sort of to distract Miguel a tiny bit, and that's exactly what's gonna happen. He's distracting Miguel on the left side, and now sending in the archers on the right side, but they won't be able to harass the wood line. Miguel's base currently looks like a base from a campaign, I have to say. It's full of towers and stuff like that. This is how you would imagine a campaign mission, like take over red base, and you have a bunch of towers. Now, Miguel needs to be careful not to overchop the wood line on the north, because an overchop here would end up in a disaster, and Miguel reaching Castle Age faster, he's gonna go for chain barring, queues up knights as expected, and the appropriate response to this one from Sitaux would be adding a couple of spearmen to buy yourself some time to get crossbowmen. He's got so many archers that grabbing crossbowmen is almost mandatory, although he doesn't have the food to grab both crossbow and bodkin, but he's going to open with crossbow. And eventually it's gonna be a triple range cav archer play from our Hunnic player. The early army numbers are still a lot more promising for Sitaux, but if Miguel is given time to mass knights, it could be a lot more troublesome for Sitaux. And as I said, I mentioned this before, I really dislike the way that Sitaux hasn't finished his walls. Because this is a invitation for Miguel to run into his base with knights, and I just feel like it would be so easy to avoid knights running into your base. I think that these are actually too late walls for such big walls, because the knights are already coming. These should have been walls over here, and that's a massive mistake from Sitaux here. He's gonna have crossbows pushing the base of Miguel. Miguel loses a Will over here, as Miguel made the second TC, and the third one is already coming in. But as I said, the knights will just run past the walls here, and they'll probably run past the TC as well. This is very, very sloppy here for Sitaux. That's an enormous mistake, and I don't know why he hasn't finished his walls just yet. Fletching on the way for Miguel, so his towers can actually range those crossbows a little bit easier, plus also more damage output for those. And it looks like Sitaux can be very thankful, because Miguel is going to disengage, and that could allow Sitaux to get those walls up, and more importantly start growing those cav archer numbers, which could be so useful in this map. It's worth noting that Miguel's only two reasonable woodlines are both on the right side, so once again, just like in the previous game, Sitaux is going to play a resource control game. This time it's going to be an easier defense for Miguel, because he's going to have the Khmer Scorpions with the 8 range. But still, at this point, if you are Sitaux, you probably consider a forward siege workshop and mangonels. Because if you start pushing this wood line with mangonels, it's going to be awfully tough for Miguel to access that wood. And you can use cav archers on the other side to deny those wood lines. As it very much seems like Miguel's force over here is going to get cleaned up. Miguel's army numbers are something I really dislike. We're talking about 14 army. 9 of those are knights, but these knights, actually decent upgrades, as they will find the Vilkir here. That's a nice move from Miguel. That's a very nice move overall. The cav archers on the other side don't have ballistics, which hurts really badly for Sitaux at this point. Tries to juke away from the scorpion shots, as those knights will just get destroyed eventually here by Sitaux. Sitau's got a university, but no resources that would be enough to cover ballistics just yet. So, now we have 14 cav archers for Sitaux. He's slowly walling himself up, but I have to say that him not walling that earlier will mean that now he's either staying open, or he has to keep his cav archers back to defend. So, as I said, I think that walling could have come a lot faster, and he would be a lot safer now. You see that he pulls away the cav archers, the knights will come in and they will kill the Vil. So he either stays back with the cav archers, which delays his push heavily, or he is in the danger of losing Vils through raids. And all could have been avoided relatively easily. Scorpion actually gets some very nice hits in here, and boom, that group of crossbows disappears for Sitaux. Some great fights being taken here by Miguel, and I feel like he's slowly taking over this game. Because while the army is still bigger for Sitaux, Miguel, his villager count is even, and I feel like Miguel's moves are a lot more confident than those of Sitaux's. So Miguel's got very little eco upgrades as well, just like Sitaux, but he's actually a little bit more proactive, and he's able to influence the opponent's economy a lot better. So, like these knights, for example, running in, something that could have been easily avoided by Miguel. Now, Miguel's still got cav archers over here, and this gold mine well, that's Sitaux. Sitaux's got cav archers over here in front of the base of Miguel, and that could easily result in the gold mine being denied. But right now, I think it's more about the wood denial here for our yellow player. Meanwhile, knights break into the base of Sitaux, and as I said, it looks like it's an overchop this time. And in this game, I just feel like Miguel is playing so much more comfortable than his opponent does. And, I mean, Sitaux had some good moves. I just feel like these small mistakes are completely destroying him, and now Miguel moves in. I like that he commits with the knights. He knows that he's going to lose them, but he ends up killing 15 Vils or so, and suddenly, look at this. Sitaux is just struggling mightily at defending his base. I did mention this ever since the start of Feudal Age, that he was disturbingly late making his wars, and he's gonna pay the price for that really heavily over here. So, now it is gonna be 48 Vils versus 67, and while honey cav archers are actually relatively cheap, so it's not like you need 150 Vils here, but all the advantage that Sitaux may have had in this game is now gonna be gone. So, Cav Archers finally cleaned up over here, but at this point, Miguel achieved what he wanted. He has a 20 Vils lead with Khmer, 4 TC boom, he was able to secure the wood lines, he's safe, and that's not something that Sitaux is going to be able to change anytime soon. And now he's going to run into the Scorpions. He doesn't have husbandry on these Cav Archers, I believe, because they seem to be galloping really slowly over here. He doesn't have Thumbring on these. Eco upgrades are sort of missing. Eco upgrades are also missing for Miguel, but at least he has 20 Vils advantage. And I see a dock from Miguel, potentially for a couple of demos in this one. Cav Archers trying to take down the Scorpions here. I'm not sure if this is a good fight here for Sitaux. He kind of feels like he probably wants to take a fight because he knows he's behind, but oh, this could be a good one though from him. Here comes the Knight from Sitaux to try and snipe the Scorpions. Nice reaction from Miguel. He will be able to finish off the Knight before the second Scorpion goes down. Still, nice zigzagging over here from Miguel, juking away from the Cav Archer fire. And Miguel's gonna add TC number 5. I think we're getting to a stage where we're just going to see Miguel flat out outbooming his opponent and then just overrunning him with either superior cavalry numbers or just, you know, go for Imperial and go for Cavalier before sending them all into Sitau's base. But Cav Archers live and die with hit and run, and you can no longer hit and run over here when there is Knights beating up your Vils. And that villager difference is not shrinking, in fact it's actually ever growing as Miguel just keeps slaying Vils from his opponent. If I had to say one thing why Sitaux is losing this game, that's probably not walling. He was so open to Feudal Age to those scouts counterattacking. He was so open in Castle Age to these Knights counterattacking, especially this overchop hurts really badly overall, but even before that, this opening was here for so long, and that is why he has lost 35 Vils in this game and only killed 8. In exchange, Miguel's defense has been stellar the entire game, so he has been defending very nicely in his base. He never really lost huge amount of Vils, so that was a beautiful play, a beautiful defense in Feudal from Miguel. And you know it's a bad situation when Vils are fighting Knights, as another Vil will go down here from Sitaux. In theory, Sitaux still has a shot, because don't underestimate 21 Cav Archers! Sitaux almost made himself GG there. Well, he's probably already GG, but that was a beautiful trap set by Miguel, and it's definitely not something that Sitaux expected. Luckily for Sitaux, he had staggered formation, and it was only a demo raft. If it was a demo ship without staggered formation, this would have been all the army gone. And now the Scorpions will fire down hills as well once again. Staggered formation comes in, but at this point, Miguel can afford to take somewhat inefficient engagements because his economy is so much better that he can just slowly grind down those Cav Archer numbers, and it's gonna be insanely hard for his opponent to rebuild them. You see that Sitaux is not actually achieving much with these Cav Archers, and his opponent has a massive economy advantage, and behind this one, the Knights once again run into Sitau's economy, forcing a huge amount of idle time. Funnily enough, Miguel still has bigger idle time than his opponent, by a factor of 2. But at this point, at least he has 106 Vils as opposed to his opponent having 69 only. Miguel is still floating a huge amount of wood, but I think, given the fact that the wood prices are still pretty decent, I would say that if he starts selling that, he could actually think about Imperial Age or just go full Knights and overrun his opponent. We're gonna have a defensive castle on the left side. This is a nice castle for Miguel, because it controls this crossing and could force units into the icy terrain where you're gonna have the demos waiting for them, or potentially force them to the north, where I would say that Miguel probably needs to wall himself, just to be sure. Cav Archers now coming to the back of the dock. They are definitely afraid of a demo popping out on the water side, but at this point, the Cav Archer numbers aren't impressive for Sitaux, and I think that the problem is that he's just progressing nowhere in this game. It's not like I'm seeing any indication that he's working towards winning the game. So, like, his opponent is at a 34 villagers lead, very nice advantage overall, and, well, there is gonna be some idle time for Miguel. As I said, The wood price is pretty fair. Not amazing, but it's a decent wood price. Nice quick post from Miguel there to protect the back of his wood line. And Miguel is gonna click into Imperial, and when we get to Imperial, Cavalier with +4 defense should just shred everything here. So, in fact, look at this. The Scorpion's getting some beautiful shots on the Cav Archers that line up over here. Knights chasing from behind, and we are gonna have some more Cav Archers coming in from Sitaux, but I think at latest when his opponent reaches Imperial, he's gonna call the GG. Because at this point, I don't see Sitaux going into Imperial, and it's not like in the first game where you can just, you know, overrun your opponent with castle age pressure, because Miguel's got defensive castles and TCs all over his base. It seems very, very unlikely that Sitaux can actually reduce that will count to something like 80, which would buy himself time to get up to Imperial. Cav Archers are still scary, but these guys, I still think that they're missing husbandry, which hurts really badly. They just feel to be a little too slow. And I think Miguel was actually waiting for this one to trap this army in here. I'm not sure what Sitaux wants to do here, but I think he's possibly maneuvering at the worst possible spot. And indeed, Sitaux just types GG, and that wasn't even in GG. He probably just sees that there is a castle, there is a 2000 score lead, there is his Cav Archers getting surrounded by knights. And if we look at Sitau's scouting, I am fairly certain he also sees 5 TCs. Sitaux knows exactly that there is no way his economy is going to be better than his opponent's, especially when knights are rampaging his eco, like this one, as this guy is just lifting his sword here to strike down this will. So with that, Miguel takes game number 4, and once again, Miguel does what was necessary. He wins his own home map. But it remains to be seen if he can take away a home map from Sitaux to turn this series around. And we are going to have the 5th game coming in here once again on the home map of Sitaux. Sitaux has... Sitaux has Meadow and Mountain Range left. 2 very, very, very different maps to play. Mountain Range is slow-paced and more late game focused. Meadow is more of a castle age or late feudal age pressure focused map. So depending on whether or not Sitaux wants to play an aggressive game, in the next one he can choose Meadow, or if he wants to go a slower macro focused game, then he probably wants to go for Mountain Range. He's got both options. Remains to be seen what he actually wants to go for in this one. So let me check if there is a game. In this one, it's so far a very, very open series to both. I still believe that generally, in terms of execution, Miguel plays a little bit better. But sometimes the mistakes that Miguel makes are enough to snowball a game in the favor of Sitaux. So both players are making mistakes, but it's more about Miguel has less mistakes, but when those happen, they seem to be bigger, whereas Sitaux has a lot more but smaller mistakes that slowly grind him down in these games, if we want to summarize it. So let's see if we have a game. No lobby just yet. Let's talk about civilizations, because now we only have a handful of civs left over here. We will have Khmer crossed out for Miguel, and we will have Huns crossed out for Sitaux. Sitaux has Magyars, Byzantines, Malians, Lithuanians left. Magyars is almost guaranteed to be his Meadow civ, but it could be Lithuanians actually. Yeah, it should be Lithuanians. All 5 relics are in the middle of on Meadow. It's a bit of a gamble, because what happens if you don't even get to a stage of grabbing relics, like die in Feudal Age, to the aggressive scouts play of the opponent, but Lithuanians is actually my favorite civilization, I would say, for Meadow, so it's possibly a good option there for Sitaux, and I'm actually somewhat surprised that Miguel didn't end up sniping that. He sniped Ethiopians, which was allegedly the Arabia civilization, or, well, Runestone's civilization of Sitaux, whereas on the other side, we still have Mayans, Franks, Britons, Saracens left. Mayans are available to play... Where are you gonna use that? Greenland will be Saracens from Miguel, I believe. Mountain range could be Britons. And then go for Franks on... yeah, that feels right. You can go for Franks on the Meadow. But Saracen play on Greenland, I think that's something that Dogao was doing. And Miguel and Dogao using the same strategies wouldn't be unprecedented. You know, they are teammates, they train a lot together. So I think that Saracens would just go to Greenland. Other side, I think Lithuanians or Magyars make the most sense for Meadow. Then Greenland is a big question mark to me, because I think that Koreans would have been a way better civ there. So I'm leaning towards Byzantines being a civ pick for Sitaux on Greenland if we actually get there. And with Magyars or Lithuanians going for Meadow, that would leave Mountain Range with Malians, something I really dislike. I actually think that Miguel has way better civilizations left over here. Okay, it looks like we had a restart because we had a trapped villager, so now we're going to Meadow, and it's gonna be Franks versus Magyars, which means Sitaux is going to play the aggressive gameplay here. There was two options that you can play Meadow, especially once you see the map, you will understand, in case you haven't seen that before. So going into Meadow, we're going to have on the right side Sitaux as yellow Magyars. Left side, it is going to be Miguel as Franks in red. So the map is very, very open for raiding, which makes Magyars and Franks both great civilizations in this one. But because all the relics are in the middle, Lithuanians could still be an intriguing civilization to try. Lithuanian scouts play is still pretty strong, and if you get to Castle Age, then you can just grab even just one relic will help you so much. I think Lithuanians is a bit of a riskier civ pick because you count on not dying in Feudal Age. In exchange, it has a better potential once you get to Feudal, or once you get to Castle Age. So it's a higher ceiling, lower floor type gameplay, whereas Magyars is a higher floor, lower ceiling type scenario. We're going to have Miguel coming in with some early wars, coming up with the scouts. It hurts really badly for Sitaux that he lost a lot of HP running into the opponent's TC fire. He probably wasn't expecting that TC to be there. And that means that one of his scouts are like half dead already. Looks like he's not going to do any rolling over here, and last time I seen this, that backfired really badly. So I did mention that Meadow could potentially be the place where Miguel could steal a map from Sitaux. We will see if that's going to be the case, but from what I'm seeing right now in terms of how much rolling Miguel does to ensure its safety and how much rolling Sitaux does, I'm tempted to lean towards saying that I'm starting to like Miguel's position more, especially because Franks, that's more of a long-term civilization for this map, whereas Magyars is a power spike based one, but boy oh boy, that's a power spike to have the extra attack on those scouts. Trying to snipe a wheel, but might have been an overcommitment here from Sitaux. He killed the wheel, but he lost 2 scouts, and I feel like 3 scouts staying inside the opponent's eco could have been more devastating than killing it, or killing 1 wheel and losing 2. Obviously, it's hard to judge in that split second, and still, Sitaux is gonna get a nice advantage from that. But at the end of the day, it may have been better if those scouts are kept alive and they can just keep running around the opponent's economy. Anyways, Sitaux does have a bit axe and no horse color. His opponent is Franks, so obviously he's gonna have horse color. One of the nice advantages of having Franks over here in this one, as the wars will be up for Miguel. And now one has to wonder if we are going to see Franks just booming up into Castle Age, because I kind of feel like that's gonna be the case. In fact, oh yeah, there's a stable here from Miguel, but he's not adding any more scouts. He went up to 4. He's gonna go for some more raiding because his opponent is relatively exposed. The main question for Sitaux, as I think he will sell his stone if I'm not mistaken here. He has done that a lot of times that he wants to play aggressive, so there's a chance he will sell his stone. If Sitaux is actually going to continue with knights and try to harness the power of iron casting, or the alternative is that he wants to switch into Cav Archers, which is going to be a unit that Franks will struggle against quite badly. It looks like Miguel or Sitaux won't actually sell his stone. I think he could still sell 100 so he can click up, but now he is going up. And he preserved his stone count, which allows him to drop additional town centers close to these wood lines if needed. Now, here comes a will pick, so Miguel picks off a will, and that evens things out here in the villager kill department. Some more Magyar Spearmen coming in to help, and this is not a fight that you want to take if you're Miguel. That's 4 Magyar Spearmen with the forging on them. And now, as I said, we go back to the question of are we gonna have Knights from Sitaux, or are we gonna have Cav Archer switch? Cav Archer switch is harder to pull off, but better long term. Knights play is better short term, but eventually, like, Franks will have a much easier time dealing with a Knights play rather than a Cav Archer play. Let's see what the second building is for Sitaux as he's going up. His opponent is actually a minute and a half behind compared to him in Castle Age timing, so Knights could make some sense here from Sitaux. And considering that I don't see any ranges being added or upgrades being researched, it is possible that Sitaux is just going to end up going for double stable Knights, but he needs that second stable now. Otherwise, his production is going to be very underwhelming, and I think if he only has one stable, he kind of throws away the lead that he has had into Castle Age, because he really needs that second stable to just flood Knights on the opponent's economy. And, excuse me? Pikemen? Pikemen? It kind of feels like Pikemen because he's getting scale mail. Why? This map is very open, so I think with Pikemen you're gonna have a lot of mobility issues. I mean, Magyar Pikemen with the free iron casting, these will be beastly, that's for sure. But what is he going to try and achieve with Pikemen? That's my problem. Especially because Franks, if they see the Pikemen, they don't need to be that much worried. Now that is a bigger surprise. Magyar Pikemen, okay, whatever. But that's double ranges for Miguel. That's double ranges. Miguel sees the pikemen, so he knows that he's gonna have to fight against that. And the most natural unit against that for Franks would be throwing axemen, but that requires a castle and Frankish cav archers. I was holding off saying this until I saw he queues them up, because he went double ranges, but didn't queue up a single archer. And if you don't queue up a single archer but you have double ranges, you are going CA, but I didn't believe it. I was like, there's no way. I'm not going to say it loud on stream that he's going Frank Cav Archers because the viewers will say I'm stupid. But no, it's not. So, Frankish Cav Archers. In Castle Age they could work. The thing I don't like about this one is that Sitaux is going to be very happy to fight against Frankish Cav Archers because what he needs to do is just make his own Cav Archers, and those will scale much better into Imperial. But this is definitely going to be a surprise for Sitaux. Sitaux will probably be like, what the hell, man? How? These scouts are still around, and the reason why Cav Archers can be concerning for Sitaux is because, for a change, he is not fully walled. And I feel like he needs to wall himself, otherwise he's just gonna be exposed to so much aggression. You see, Miguel is fully walled. Miguel is not taking any damage, basically. He's just chilling back at home. 2 TCs for him, 2 TCs as well for Sitaux. And now the scouts go down from Miguel over here. Here come the Cav Archers. I really want to see the face of Sitaux upon seeing this. I'm like, what? I would probably be like, dude, what is that? Now, how do these Cav Archers have 60 HP? Oh, that's right. That's actually an interesting thing to debate. Because standard Cav Archers have 50 HP. If you grab Bloodlines, that goes up to 70, because Bloodlines gives you a standard plus 20 HP. But Franks don't have Bloodlines. In exchange, what they get in Castle Age, or in general for their cavalry, is 20% HP bonus. And that apparently applies to Cav Archers, something that could be a very, very nice AoE trivia quiz question if the Frankish HP bonus on cavalry actually applies to cav archers or not. This obviously is going to be worse than bloodlines, though. That's always an interesting debate, that just like a Frankish scout, is it better or worse than a standard scout? It's better when there is no bloodlines, it's worse when there is bloodlines already researched for the opponent. So, and with that, we're gonna have some Frankish cav archers with 60 HP. At least they are not completely without bloodlines, but obviously Magyar cav archers with bloodlines will be superior to them. And indeed, Sitaux is picking up relics. I approve that quite a bit. 5 relics here is going to give you a massive gold income. Now, here are the cav archers, and this is what Sitaux is gonna struggle a tiny bit to deal with, but I think Sitaux could do the exact same thing that his opponent did to him in the previous game, just flood knights. Go for double stable knights with +2/+2, Frankish cav archers won't stop this one, or you're gonna need a huge amount of cav archers. So, at this point, the will count is still relatively even. Sitaux is on 2 TCs, his opponent is up to 3, and you see that there's already a castle in the making, or at least that's the plan for Miguel, with stone being mined, and most likely we're going to see throwing axemen. I think that Sitaux needs his own cav archers, though. Still, these cav archers aren't really amazing here for Franks, and I think that Miguel shouldn't really be happy making cav archers, especially because, if I'm not mistaken, Franks are missing Bracer. Oh, that's even more of a disaster for Miguel. That's a massive disaster. His cav archers get surrounded and they will get broke down by pikemen, and suddenly Miguel is down to just 9 army. And remember that his unit composition is far from ideal, so like, he invested into Botkin Arrow, he invested into Archer defense, and all of that will be pretty much useless right now. 30C coming in for Sitaux as well, as I think the win condition now for Sitaux is to play a super aggressive Castle Age. He's gonna have +2/+2 knights, and considering that his opponent went for a cav archer play, I think Sitaux can just commit to this one and basically do the exact same thing that Miguel did to him in the previous game. Dive in and snipe wills. You can detach a couple of knights, just keep running around the opponent's eco, and eventually you are going to grind it down. By the way, for whatever reason, Miguel has a hole here on his wall. I don't understand why. Neither do I understand why Sitaux is taking a fight beneath the town center. Despite the fact that he has +2 defense and he just wants to grind down those cav archers, there is still some knights beating him up, and those knights could have been much more useful killing these wills, or so. Scale mail for Miguel, implying that we're going to see pikemen as well for him, I assume. But now Sitaux is pushing up, grabbing even Sanctity, so he wants to convert those knights as TC number 4 comes in for Miguel. Remember that while the villager count is relatively even, we have a handcart and a 6 wills lead for Miguel. His opponent is sitting on 5 relics, and if you see that gold trickle, I am fairly certain that that makes up for the villager deficit that Sitaux has. Sitaux is sort of flooding units here, including knights and pikemen. He just needs knights to run around the eco of Miguel, and I think Miguel's gonna have no tools to stop that. He's just now researching pikemen, so all Sitaux needs is just knights that are stomping wills left and right. And you already have his forward siege workshop. A battering ram would start knocking down these buildings really fast, so the knight production would disappear as well. And I think Sitaux has good enough town centers to protect the majority of his eco. Sitaux is 11 on stone. He wants to finish this game with a castle drop, and he's in a good position to do so, as we're gonna have the TC stopping these cav archers and knights from breaking in. And this is what I was referencing to. These knights running around will be just so hard for Miguel to clean up, as the battering ram knocks down the stables. Once the stables are down, you don't really have a good answer to the siege weapons other than your own siege weapons. Although, that's 1 conversion, and 2 conversions, that's actually very, very sloppy from Sitaux to allow 2 conversions over there and not disengage. And now his opponent actually converted a bunch of those powerful Magyar knights. Still, it looks like Sitaux is still at just 300 stone. He's getting closer to dropping a castle, but once again, this push feels like it's actually stalling out a little bit. And behind this one, Miguel has a slightly better economy, or is it actually better? Pure villager-wise, it should be better, and his eco upgrades are also slightly better. But he's got 27 idols, and more importantly, he's up against 5 relics. So I think that after all, Sitau's eco might be stronger here, especially if these idols remain for Miguel for a long time. We will have 5 relics still for Sitaux, and that's the defensive castle for Miguel. The question is, where is the castle coming up for Sitaux? Because he could, like, theoretically speaking, the best castle would be that denies this wood line, but that's not really a possibility right now for Sitaux. He can't really place any castle that's like... Maybe this could be the best castle to deny that wood line, but even then, you have access to this one, so I don't think that is good enough. Let's see what Sitaux decides upon. His opponent is just now breaking out of his base, so Sitau's gotta be careful here not to get destroyed by the mangonels. So far, the defense has been nice from Miguel, and if he manages to fix the idle will issue, he's gonna be fine, and he's getting close to Imperial, but guess what? Sitaux clicks up faster. And the longer this game goes, the more I favor the player that's sitting on 5 relics, with a civilization that's insanely hard to push, because Magyar Hussar would actually be able to snipe traps really easily, and Sitaux wants to play the long game here. Because Sitaux makes a castle on this hill, which means that he wants to secure this wood line. Now, time will tell if this was a good decision or not, because one thing is sure, his opponent can also go for this wood line. Sitaux is still 11 on stone, so Sitaux could drop a castle here as well. And that could be an interesting strategy, trying to starve your opponent out of wood, because if you take a look at Miguel's wood line, that's like half consumed, but eventually he's gonna have to move to new wood lines. Sitaux will try to poke and probe here, see if he can run into the base of the opponent, and I think that's a good idea. Because mobility is not something that Miguel has. Miguel was able to hold this one because he's got monks and defensive quick walls. That couldn't really be the case here, especially if these break through the walls and start rampaging the eco. Nice quick wall so far from Miguel, and it looks like Sitaux will disengage upon seeing the market and blacksmith walls here. The blacksmith will be helpful at just, you know, adding some more technologies faster, and that's the second castle for Sitaux. That's why he tried breaking through that wall. He wanted to distract his opponent to make sure that he isn't looking here and he can get that castle up. Now, one of these will be a disaster castle. And I'm leaning towards Sitau's castle being a disaster because that's a lot of wheels building it, but on the other hand, Miguel has no army. Miguel has no army, and I think Sitau's castle is going up. Miguel's castle is also gonna go up, but Miguel is losing so many villas, and most importantly, his wood line. And without wood, you're not making trebs. Added to the fact that there is 2 castles here for Sitaux that can produce trebs immediately, and Sitaux is going to be in a great position. Trebs queued up immediately from both players, or well, just Sitaux right now on the 2 castles. Miguel needs to destroy this castle. He will have the hill advantage, so he's gonna have to make 2 trebs immediately, line them up over here, and start shooting at that castle. That's his chance in this one. In fact, he has a 3rd castle. Would be cool if he would bring in a trap all the way from here. It's gonna take some time until it gets here, but he needs to have the trap number advantage. Miguel is teching into Cavalier, but he is only at 8 knights right now, and it looks like Sitaux tried thinking about moving in. He isn't teching into Cavalier though, something I dislike. I think Sitaux should also tech into Cavalier. He's gonna have +4 attack immediately, and we have a pause. So, as things stand, it looks like Sitaux is gonna play with halberdiers here. What I dislike about his position is that his base is still wide open, so if he just plays halberdier, he will potentially get raided to death with Frankish cavalry. In exchange, the push here from Sitaux seems to be a lot more convincing, and he's able to influence the opponent's eco a lot better than Miguel is able to. However, Miguel should have a relatively easy position here to defend if he makes traps. He's queuing up traps on 2 castles and the 3rd one is not doing anything. In that case, that castle here on the south could be used for chivalry, because you want to have that upgrade like ASAP. We are into the game only 27 minutes deep, so this could potentially be a very, very long game over here, especially if Sitau's foothold here is gone. If Miguel manages to defend this one and take down this castle, I am favoring Miguel's position. If Miguel loses this castle, then it's Sitaux all over the place, I would say. So Whoever wins this trap fight, it's gonna be crucial. The good news for Miguel is that he can pull 15-20 villas to repair that castle, whereas his opponent doesn't have a lot of villas, and they're relatively far away. He has like, what, 13 villas that he can pull? 13 villas will be barely enough to repair against 2 trebs on even ground, let alone with high ground. So Sitaux got all the tools, or well, Miguel's got all the tools to take this castle down over here. As what is happening? Okay, it looks like there was a bit of a pause bug over here. Sorry for that. So we're gonna have to catch up here. That was interesting. Alright, now Cavalier move is in here from Sitaux, snipes the trap. Something that was a must-have for him. Beautifully done, and sniping one trap is essential here. As Miguel is also late sending the wheels to repair. He needs like 15 wheels repairing this one, and he's not doing it. Oh my goodness, this is a disaster for Miguel. He lost his first trap to the cavalry that pushed in, and now he didn't have the appropriate amount of wheels to repair against 4 traps. And now that we are back with a live feed... what? Let's just slow this down, alright? So, counterattack coming in here from Miguel though, and this could be very, very devastating to Sitaux' economy. There is still a huge amount of traps, but the problem is that Sitaux has no protection to them, and I did mention that I massively dislike Sitaux' Halberdier play. It should have been a Cavalier play, I believe. Especially because Franks have a good answer to Halberdiers. They can just go throwing axemen, and you see that mobility is a massive issue here for Sitaux, and I'm starting to feel like despite the fact that Miguel lost this castle over here, I like Miguel's unit composition a lot better. Because he's gonna have Cavalier, he's actually working towards Paladin in this case, and mobility all over the place, because Sitaux doesn't have walls, and Sitaux I think is going for the worst possible unit that he can go for. Magyar infantry are not even having +4 defense, and you don't go for halberdiers when your opponent has castles, especially if your opponent is Franks, because if Miguel makes throwing axemen right now, then Sitaux is gonna have absolutely zero answer to those. And he could have gone for his own Cavalier, he would have even gotten Blast Furnace, so it would have been even easier for him to go for Cavalier than it was for Miguel, and suddenly Miguel takes over in terms of score by a massive margin. You're gonna have the traps taking down the castle here though. Sitaux is repairing and Miguel is gonna lose his traps, so maybe crisis averted here for Sitaux. I'm not gonna say that I like his position anymore. In fact, if I had to choose which player I wanna be Miguel here. But at this point, there is no mobility for Sitaux, and what's even worse is that, okay, no mobility, fine, but he's wide open, so Miguel can just use the mobility of his army and just keep raiding the opponent. There is also 3000 gold being floated by Miguel as he's buying stone for an insane price. That is... that kind of feels like a panic castle to me. I don't like the location at all, to be honest. And I also consider that very, very wasteful. So yeah, he had 3000 gold, but buying an entire castle for, I don't know, 1500 gold feels wasteful to me. So, at this point, Miguel is making the throwing axeman, and now, have I mentioned that mobility is a problem for Sitaux? I feel like Sitaux is choosing the wrong unit composition here. He could have gone for his own Cavalier and then transitioned to Cav Archers. Speaking of Cav Archers, something that he never did was go for Cav Archers. Now his Stone Walls coming up, finally. Finally some Stone Walls. This is something that should have happened in the previous game as well, or maybe just Palisade Walls. But he needs to find a way to protect his eco against this raid. Keep in mind that he's sitting on 5 relics, so if he just holds out here, he's eventually going to grind down the opponent's gold units. But I really feel like he needs some gold units here. Like, Halberdier Heavy Cav Archer would be great, and nothing prevents him from going heavy CA here. Magyar Cav Archers here would absolutely wreck Franks. Franks have no response to recurve bow Cav Archers. They have absolutely no idea. So, couple of Cavalier running into the base here, doing some damage. And now he's stacking into Botkin Arrow. Alright, finally. Yeah, I think if he gets to like 30 Magyar cavalries, I don't think that there's a chance for Miguel, unless Miguel does a lot of damage before that. Still, I would have preferred if Sitaux just keeps a couple of cavalry around, so he can track down these cavalry that are running past his eco and just take them down. The good news for Sitaux, on the other hand, is that he's gonna have halberdiers, and with halberdiers are raiding, that's actually hard to clean up, because you would send your cavalry to clean up, but you can't clean up halberdiers with cavalry here, so you're gonna have to send throwing axemen. Ecos are still dead even, but imagine if you had one cavalry to just kill this one. Once again, I feel like I'm feeling very similar to the Acclivity game. Sitaux is not playing perfectly here, in fact it's very far from perfect, but he's still winning over his opponent. In this one, 35 cavalries in queue. I wonder how many ranges he has. Two ranges. Oh my goodness. Actually has 3. He has a third one somewhere. Yeah, it's a third one over here. Yeah, this is what we call production bottleneck. Still, I mean, if he gets recurve bow... Now, speaking of recurve bow, he needs to keep this castle alive. He has another castle back at home, but Magyar CA need a lot of upgrades. So, he needs ballistics that he's missing bracer, he's missing chemistry. I think he has husbandry, but he's gonna need recurve bow as well, although recurve bow is not that important because he would destroy Franks even without recurve bow. Recurve bow is just the cherry on top here. Still, once you have good cavalry production, I think that you're gonna be good to go. And remember, as recurve bow comes in on the castle at the back, Miguel is going to drop a castle here, and this will shake up things quite a bit because this will deny Sitaux's wood line, and Sitaux's gonna have to move over here to the left side, a place that he just lost. Still no ballistics, by the way, for Sitaux, which obviously hurts really badly for cavalries. And heavy cavalry is also buried somewhere in the queue behind all these cavalries. Thumbring just now coming in, so it takes at least 1 or 2 more minutes for Sitaux to tech into cavalry to like a reasonable extent. Now, here's the deal. Sitaux is gonna have this hill and he sees this castle. If he has the time to react to it while he's microing the rest of his stuff, he can make a trap and take this down from the hill. But I feel like the momentum seems to be on the side of Miguel here. He's got quite a lot of traps coming in, but as the cavalry numbers grow, that momentum will start fading away more and more. Parthian tactics before ballistics, not necessarily the ideal timing, but at this point Miguel goes for wood denial. You see that he's pushing up over here and he's pushing up over here. All he wants to do is deny wood, and this is the moment where Sitaux is going to realize, oh shoot, I need to trap this one down. And that's actually gonna be the case indeed. A very chaotic game once again, where I think Sitaux had a way bigger lead than what we are actually seeing over here. On the other hand, cavalries are now in indecent quantities. They have recurve bow, they have all the upgrades with the exception of ballistics that just came in, and I don't think that this castle is actually coming up here. It shouldn't go up. It shouldn't go up, but the flood of units might be too big to handle, and I think Sitaux is in trouble. And did he double click? No, he didn't double click his villas, it's just a mass migration to the new wood line. Now, this castle is still at 68%. You can stop this if you're Sitaux. You can stop this with the cavalry, he needs to focus them down one by one, which obviously takes a lot of effort, and it looks like he won't, which means that the castle goes up over here, barely, but it goes up. On the right side, that's the nice thing for Sitaux, he's gonna be able to take down the castle, but I still believe that what was once a game that was dominated by Sitaux is now at best an even game for him. And he's losing a lot of production over here. His population is still better than that of Miguel's, and remember that Miguel is really on a timer with the lack of gold, so he's slowly running out of gold. His gold bank isn't looking huge, but Sitaux doesn't have any gold bank either. Where is Sitaux's gold at now? It's nowhere, because he never established real map control. This castle goes down, which means that Sitaux can return to his original wood line, and I still believe that now Sitaux is in a big problem with gold. All his gold seems to be in the hands of his opponent, so that helps a lot for Miguel to outlast him. Obviously in a very long game, Sitaux should still win because he's got 5 relics, but in exchange Miguel still has a lot of mineable gold. We are talking in the range of a couple of thousands. But indeed, Magyars have Magyar Hussars, and you have Cav Archers that are here to raid. Paladin, by the way, from Miguel, I don't like that. I don't think that Paladins are worth it here. It's way too expensive and you're slowly running out of gold. If you run out of gold here with Franks, you will pretty much have a very, very bad trash unit composition. And more importantly, as I said, I feel like Paladin is a very expensive unit. Is Sitaux going to transfer the relics to the back of his base? It's possible that he will, because he ungarrisoned one relic over here. In fact, his monastery is getting close to being pushed, and it looks like it's gonna be Paladin for 12 Cavaliers for Miguel. That's a massive mistake, I think. He's going to lose this castle, and that gold could have been used like a lot of places, but definitely not Paladin, because is Paladin going to change the outcome of this battle? Very unlikely, and I feel like Sitaux may have... Like, at this point, I feel like Sitaux's advantage was too big to throw away. Because that 5 relics might come in clutch here eventually as the Franks run out of gold. Final tiles of gold being consumed here by Miguel. He has about 2,000 left at maximum there. And what now could be a good one from Sitaux is indeed Magyar Hussar, although he only has one castle. But, or just standard Hussar from Sitaux, honestly. He's up against skirmishers and he sees that. So, go standard Hussar, he's taking it to light cav right now. Magyar light cavalry is even cheaper. So, it's a very, very good unit to spam into the opponent's economy. Speaking of spamming stuff into the opponent's economy, there is a hole over here on the wood line that allows free Paladins to run into Sitaux's food eco. So, Sitaux is gonna have to mass migrate all his farmers from the right to the left. Some more stables coming in on the left side. These are some beautiful T90 farms, if I've ever seen any. You might be missing a mill here, my friend. Obviously, there's a lot of things going on here for Sitaux. But there is just so many things to look at right now. Still, as I said, Miguel is on a serious timer here. And his opponent is still swimming in gold in this one. And these wheels are actually dropping off food at this mill. So finally, there's gonna be a new mill around. But it looks like Sitaux apparently doesn't notice that his wheels are getting killed here, and that's going to cost him quite a lot of villager lives. He's down to 28 farmers. So, while this may not seem like a significant push, it pushes down Sitaux to 28 farmers, which makes it very hard for him to spam Hussars in general. You see that now he's up to 37 with these new farms being established. Soon wood control is gonna be a question, because both players are running out from their initial wood line, but it looks like Sitaux is already consuming the majority of this wood line, and this wood line seems like it's a little bit more intact for Miguel. Sitaux buying 200 stone for a lot of gold here. I'm not sure if that's the best use of your gold. I feel like expanding your Cav Archer numbers seems to be a lot more reasonable, because you need a lot of Cav Archers. You need to make sure that Cav Archer group stays alive. So, let's see, Light Cav now moving in here, decent upgrades on them, only missing Hussar. That's a very, very late hand card, by the way, from Miguel. These skirmishers are also lacking Bracer, I believe. Yes, they do. And you see that, I think that the Paladin here was a mistake from Miguel. It doesn't give him enough boost to compensate for the massive price that you have to pay for Paladin. And now the Paladins will snipe the traps. The timer is big though for Miguel. And as I said, until that timer runs out, Miguel should have the advantage making gold units, because he's got a bunch of gold miners getting in gold, whereas gold is barely trickling in for Sitaux from the relics. On the other hand, once Miguel runs out of gold, he's gonna have absolutely nothing to work with, and keep in mind, he's Franks, so he's got underwhelming skirmishers, he's got no Hussar upgrade, their Halberdiers are alright at least. The time limit is 75 minutes, so we still have 25 minutes until this would actually be a time victory. And I don't think that it's going to go down to that. At this point, Miguel still believes he can outlast his opponent in gold, but he will soon have to realize that his opponent is sitting on 5 relics, and who would have thought? If Miguel doesn't, or if Sitaux doesn't secure those relics in early Castle Age, then this game, I think, would go into Miguel's hands. If Miguel had 3 relics here, or 2 even, I think Miguel would be able to close this out. And now some Halberdiers coming in here to raid once again. Army numbers are still pretty close, scores are relatively even as well, and that probably motivates Miguel to press on. And I guess Miguel could play for wood denial. So that's something to point out, because these wood lines are really running dry here for Sitaux, but luckily for Sitaux he's got some light cavalry moving on the right side. And the only thing that Sitaux is missing is, well, Hussar and some good upgrades on them. Once again, Miguel is doing a better job killing the wheels of the opponent than Sitaux is, but these are so many Paladins and they will eventually go down to the Cav Archers and the Hobbs, and when they do, there is gonna be no replenishment. Miguel is officially out of gold, so this is all that he has. Selling wood is not an option because he's running dry on wood as well. Selling food is not something that he wants to do when you go for Paladins, so he just doesn't have the resources to convert into gold. And when these Paladins go down, he's gonna have absolutely no replacement to them. And now the Magyars here with the recurve bow Cav Archers, they just obliterate that army. The KD is still in the favor of Miguel, by the way, partially fueled by the fact that, you know, Sitaux is doing a really bad job preserving his eco. So Sitaux still needs some more Hussars over here, but all he needs to do is just grind down those last remaining Paladins. Miguel is still just 100 wheels, whereas his opponent is 110, but more importantly, this is the last group of Paladins, and I think Sitaux knows that. Sitaux doesn't really want to take this fight against that many skirmishers with the Cav Archers, even though those are not having Bracer, and they are also fighting up hills. But reality is that at this point, this is still worth it for Sitaux, because he knows that the Paladins will never be replenished again. Light Cav being teched into by Miguel, as this Paladin is still rampaging the eco of Sitaux. Sitaux has lost like 20 wheels here to this one. That's actually very underwhelming from him. Like, he has lost 125 wheels to 100 deaths. That 2 minutes ago that was an even KD. So he lost like 20 wheels to these couple of Paladins running into his eco. And I feel like at this point Miguel wants to play with wood control. Sitaux selling quite a lot of stone for gold over here. He wants to grab Hussar. And as I said, I don't think that... like, Magyars is one of the best civilization when it comes to post-Imperial Trash Wars. They have fully upgraded cheap Hussar. They have fully upgraded Elite Skirm. They are missing +4 defense on their Halberdiers, but they in exchange have Magyar Hussar to snipe siege weapons. So, oh, this hole is still here, and the Light Cav now are coming into Sitau's base. Sitaux even coming in with Masonry, as now the Cav Archers will be dispatched to clean this up on the right side, or not. Still, these Hussars are running into Halberdiers here, because apparently the Cav Archer support was just non-existent. This might come down to wood control, though. Like, at this point, I'm fairly certain Miguel wants to play for wood control. But even if the wood runs out, he's gonna be 0 relics versus his opponent having 5 relics. I just don't see a win condition for Miguel unless Sitaux does a massive throw here. Now, Sitaux needs to ensure he doesn't lose his Cav Archer numbers, because those are precious gold units here for him, and Sitaux somehow found gold. Where did Sitaux find gold? Sitaux has 4 gold miners somewhere. How on the earth did he find any gold? That's not the relics, that's for sure. Is there some gold left for Sitaux somewhere? He's still mining some stone over here. I can't find it. Still, I mean, at this point, Sitaux now takes over in KD, because that group of Cav Archers is gonna be impossible to destroy. We have seen a lot of this in Deathmatch World Cup. Oh, bit of a gold. That's still 200 gold over here. And what I wanted to point out is that we have seen that a lot in Deathmatch World Cup, that destroying a group of Cav Archers is insanely hard when you don't have your own Cav Archers anymore. And with that, Sitaux narrowly edges out a win, and I have to say that this game was all about relics. The second half of the game, Miguel was massively outplaying Sitaux in terms of raiding, in terms of establishing map control, but it was too far gone for Miguel by this time. Because if you take a look at this number, 7,000 extra gold for Sitaux, the overall resources gathered were actually the same, but 3,000 extra gold for Sitaux because of that. And we can safely say that the Frankish players that went for Cav Archers have a 0% win rate right now, because Miguel loses this game over here and we'll go back to the lobby. Now, this was a long and grindy game, and we potentially have a lot more ahead of us, so if you excuse me after adding a score and crossing out the civilizations, before we go to what could be the final game of this set, if Sitaux wins, it's gonna be the final one. I am going to take a half-minute break here, because this could still be a long one. Yesterday I casted 9 hours, 40 minutes, and I was like, oh yeah, today is gonna be easy, just 7 hours of casting or so. We are at 9.5 hours right now, and we potentially have 2 more games, so spontaneous 10-hour stream, I assume. That's just the life of casters. Alright, welcome back everybody. I'm still not dead, so we will continue on this marathon stream of 9.5 hours. Next weekend we'll do the exact same thing, so long stream on Saturday because we have, you know, all those rounds at the beginning, and then long stream on Sunday for another probably 10 hours series. Oh, and we are far from being done. In theory, the maximum amount of time that we still will have to stay here is 2.5 hours, because that's 2 games of 75 minutes each. And the remaining maps, let's talk about them. Mountain Range for Sitaux, a map that usually goes very, very late game, and it could end up in stalemates, especially because both players seem to be very resilient with this map, or in general in this series. Both players seem to be giving up really hard. Other map that remains is gonna be Greenland. Now, Greenland is also a stalemate map, so there's a chance that this thing is gonna last for like, I'm not going to say 3 more hours, but potentially a large amount of time. Let's just say that. Everything, by the way, that I am actually streaming over here is gonna be uploaded to YouTube. So in case you missed something, then you can actually check out the YouTube channel. Yesterday's sets, like the more interesting ones, have already been uploaded, and now we are going to have today's sets uploaded as well over the course of tomorrow and probably Tuesday as well. So Greenland coming in as the next map, that is the final home map of Miguel. Now, in pure water scenarios, Miguel seemed to be a lot more dominant compared to Sitaux, so I wonder what Sitaux could do in this situation, especially because civilization-wise, I think I like Miguel's Saracens here a lot better than what will most likely be Byzantines for Sitaux. I don't like Byzantines here, whereas Saracens feels like a reasonable idea. Malians could be a good alternative for Sitaux, but I just feel like Koreans could have been much better used over here, and not on the islands map where Sitaux actually picked them. The last map with this would be Mountain Range, which is Sitau's home map. So if Miguel ends up winning his own final home map, Then we will go to Sitau's home map in the last game. So far, every player has won their own respective home maps. Let's see if this tendency is going to change here. They are not ready yet, but they will be in a couple of moments. Probably they're also taking a short break after this kind of exhausting set. I'm also getting tired, so in case you feel like, oh yeah, my casting is no longer as good as it used to be, or depending on perspective, just worse than it usually is, then that's because, guess what? I've been casting for 9.5 hours, so... And I also casted 9.5 hours yesterday, so I will probably just go and sleep after this set. Probably... Why would you be tired? Yeah, like, next time... This is a good training for a 24-hour stream, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I've seen... If you see, you know, nowadays, 24-hour streams in the AoE2 community are quite rare. Like the ones where they actually do 24 hours in one session. Oftentimes, the 24-hour streams now, it's 12 hours on 2 days. And we are kind of getting close to that in relation. I wasn't planning to do that at all. Tired? Have you lost your passion? No, I've lost my voice. You probably don't hear it, but my voice is about to die. Like, I was barely able to wake up this morning. I was so exhausted, and I wasn't even sure if I can speak at the beginning of the stream, but I guess I managed to hold it out. I'm probably going to rest for 4 days after this one. I'm gonna be like, okay, just leave me be. I don't want to speak to anyone. It gets exhausting after 10 hours that you're just speaking to yourself, and yeah, that's basically it. Alright, so lobby is up, and we're still waiting for Sitaux to return so we can continue this marathon set. It's actually a very, very long set by itself, and it looks like Sitaux is back. So let's see what we're gonna have for this one. It should be Byzantines versus Saracens in a matchup where I actually massively favor Saracens, but Byzantines is winnable, but you need perfect execution with Byzantines. I think Byzantines need to be very aggressive on this map. Potentially towers and spears at the beginning. Obviously, we'll be fighting for water as we jump into game number 6 here. So you're gonna have to fight on water as well. Hello, Capture Age. Please wake up. Okay, thank you. So welcome to Greenland. We're going to have Sitaux on the left side as yellow Byzantines. The right side is going to be Miguel as red Saracens. In late game, there is going to be no doubt that the Saracen galleys and Saracen galleons will be way better than what Byzantines can field against them. However, in early game, an aggressive Byzantine play could work out, and it very much seems like we'll have a defensive tower for Sitaux, and that's it. Miguel in exchange drops a dock, but I don't see a single ship coming out just yet. So there's a chance that what Sitaux wants to do has something to do with fast castles. So the thing is that you could potentially think about sort of fast castling this one if you're Sitaux, with a defensive tower to prevent your opponent from pushing you off from the fish. And then you can drop a dock and go for fire ships in Castle Age. It very much seems like Miguel's gonna go double dock galleys, but as I said, the tower here should be able to protect the vills. It's going to be a risky call, I believe, for Sitaux, and I'm not really a big fan of this strategy in general. Miguel reacts to that spearman, runs away from the spear with the scout. It's going to be more and more exhausting for these players. That's something that we also have to consider, that attrition starts kicking in for these players especially for Sitaux, because he's the one that has less tournament experience, so he's less used to playing 5-hour-long sets. On the other side, this is something that is debated on chat. I see that this is, even though it's actually late in evening, in fact it's middle of the night now for Sitaux in Europe, so it's past midnight, I believe. That's not a big deal for him. Sitaux usually plays very, very late in the evenings. I'm actually surprised how late he plays. Like, I've seen him playing 2, 3 a.m. Europe time. So, indeed, as I mentioned, that's the fast castle. I'm not sure if this was the original game plan here from Sitaux, or it's just a reaction to what Miguel is doing, because keep in mind, Miguel is Saracens, he's going to drop the market, so he will be selling his stone to go up. This may have been Sitaux's reaction to what was otherwise a stone-selling fast castle play from Miguel. The end result is that Sitaux beats Miguel to castle age by half a minute or so, and he has just shown a hole. I think Miguel believed that this is closed. It's hard to say, especially if you're not using like no snow and identical trees mod, that there is a gap here. Regardless, here is the fire galleys. It's only 1 dock right now, as opposed to 2 docks, and Miguel already has a decent amount of galleys over here, so 1 or 2 fire ships won't actually be able to decide the outcome of this one. Stable on the way for Sitaux to reinforce the middle. Both players have access to fish so far, and that's actually extremely important, because whoever gets forced up from fish will suddenly have very, very little food income. So one speedman gets taken down by a fire galley. This will prompt Miguel to keep chasing. Did you see that 360? Hold on. 360 no scope, boys. Boink? It's actually 720, or was it? Was it even 900% or degree turn? Did you see that? Lol. The things that you start noticing after 10 hours of streaming. So, second dock coming in here for Sitaux. The problem is that his ship numbers aren't actually amazing. There's gonna be some scouts being added. I feel like these scouts could work, and the reason why the scouts could work is because there's a hole here for Miguel. That Miguel is just now trying to plug in, so by the time those scouts arrive, that's actually going to be filled in, and that means that these scouts won't be able to do that much damage. If this map is all about water control, why no one goes for a prime water sieve just for the options? Because it's not all about water control, it's also about being aggressive and pushing your opponent off from land. So if you go for something like Italians, you risk getting beaten to castle age by Saracens, for example, and getting overrun by galleys. You need some very aggressive water sieves that are also capable of holding their own on land, and I really dislike that the entire game plan of Sitaux was that he actually went up to castle age and then he abandons the shorefish. So now he's beating his way into the opponent's base with knights, which is alright, I guess, but he just lost water, and I did mention that civ advantage-wise, I favor Saracens by a massive margin. So Saracens is an amazing civilization with the faster firing galleys in late game. Byzantines, you only win with those if you are playing very aggressive and you prevent the Saracen player from massing galleys. And that didn't really happen here. And from this point on, there is only one way for Sitaux to have a chance at destroying these galleys. And that is probably going to be an early Imperial Age and going for fast fires. But problems are even more problematic. Did I just say problems are even more problematic? Okay, let's try this again. So things are even more problematic for Sitaux here. His primary goal is wide open to these war galleys. How is he going to defend this one? I have no idea. I don't think that he will defend this one. That's my simple and pure answer to this one. This could be a short game because everything that's happening right now is going in the favor of Miguel and absolutely awful for Sitaux. In this one, I am not so sure what Sitaux's plan here was with Byzantines, and the reason why he can be angry at himself is because I think Koreans would have made more sense here for Sitaux. Sitaux could have been able to do the same thing, go for towers, go for the docks as well and go for galleys himself. So I feel like Koreans would have been more reasonable, or an alternative. If he was so afraid of the Saracen fast castle here, he could have sniped Saracens as well. Because remember, he sniped Berbers, I believe, and that was a puzzling decision based on the fact that he let his opponent play with Vikings, and he also lets his opponent play with Saracens, something that can be a very dangerous civilization because of its flexibility with the market. Now, Sitaux is mining stone here, so it's very likely we will see a castle here to prevent those galleys from pushing this gold mine. But at this point, if you are Miguel, you start thinking about what happens if I start making a couple of knights and send them in here, because the gate is open. At this point, the good news for Sitaux is that he was able to scare away the Veils of Miguel from here with a couple of knights and scouts. And what that means is that at least Miguel doesn't have shore fishing income either. If Miguel had shore fishing here, Miguel's economy would be light years ahead. I mean, Miguel has 2 Veils here, but that's not really something that's important. And there is a stable indeed. The way into Sitau's base lies wide open. You need 2 knights, and Sitau's gonna have 0 defense, because he's about to lose that stable, so he can't just make camels. He has a base wide open, and not a single production building back at home. This could be a super one-sided game over here. I think Miguel has a massive civ advantage, but I would attribute that to the fact that I think he has used the civilizations that he drafted a lot better than Sitaux did. So, now we're gonna have the tower going down. The only way that we are going to have this gold mine from Sitaux being reclaimed is if he makes a castle here, but he's only sending 5 on stone. So I don't think that he actually realizes the importance of plugging this hole in with a castle really fast. Double market? Is it actually double market? It's actually double market. So what happened here? The reason why this market is here is because the knights break through here through the pause side and need the big building to block this. So you make a market wall. And ideally with the market wall you want to stop at like 40%, because there is no way that the units get through that in reasonable time. And it's also a cheap Saracen market, so it's very very good for like quick walling like that. Saracen markets are very cheap indeed, they are 75 wood each only, so you save 100 wood on each of the markets. But oftentimes you accidentally don't stop building that, or you make a mining camp and your Veils go in here, or you make this policide and your Veils go and finish that when you're not looking. And now that is a siege workshop I call aggressive, but as I said, is it gonna go punished? Absolutely not, because Sitaux is nowhere close to being able to do anything in this game. This game I think was over when to be honest, when Sitaux left the middle here, there was already a white flag being waved here, as that siege workshop is going up. And while there is nice quick walls, sure, I mean, look at this Will, he's derping out as he's getting converted, he doesn't know which side to join, and eventually he's gonna end up being red. So now we have a traitor inside over here stabbing the other guy, bit of an infighting over here. But I mean, this game is so over. Like, this game should have been called who knows how long time ago. I mean, at this point Sitaux is trying to go for fire ships, but keep in mind that Sitaux has a 6 Veils lead in this one, and there's a defensive castle. Battering ram pops out. This could... The castle was deleted in the final second by Sitaux. I got a heart attack for a moment, because that foundation was very very close to being killed by that ram. The castle was deleted because he got the resources back and he can actually afford it. But even then, I just don't know which direction Sitaux can go from this one. I mean, he has a couple of fire galleys, but that's it. Everything else is favoring Miguel in here. He's gonna have demos, he's gonna have galleys, and I mean, the castle goes up, nice. But at this point, if you look at the resources for Miguel, he's going into Imperial. Actually, both players will go Imp. If Sitaux would have been able to beat Miguel to Imperial by like a minute or so, he could have maybe snowballed the game with fast fires. But it's not going to be enough. Because Miguel is actually... Miguel hasn't clicked up yet. Miguel could technically lose this one still. It's a very, very slim chance. But here's the deal. The economies are not that far apart. It's still an advantage for Miguel, but he still hasn't clicked up. And because of that, well, we have a beautiful demo. So because of that, as the knights are still rampaging the eco of Sitaux here, so because of that, the fast fires could easily overrun him. That's going to be nice and comfy 1 minute advantage, and I said that that's basically the threshold you're looking for. So you want to get to Imperial there real quick, get fast fires and snowball the game. Even then it's going to be disgustingly hard, but one thing that Byzantines could do is start dropping castles in the middle, and Byzantine fortifications are very hard to destroy. So I feel like there is a very, very slim chance here for Sitaux. As I said, I think it's less than 5%. But there is a chance. You know, there is that meme that says, so you're telling me there is a chance? Yeah, that's basically this scenario. What is this knight doing? This knight is beating up Wills. Why are you doing that, my friend? And why is Miguel not reacting to this? Miguel is probably too busy fighting on the war over here. He's constantly gonna have to babysit those war galleys and microwave against the fire ships. The problem for Sitaux is that he only has 4 fire ships. That's not enough here for fast fires. He's gonna have careening. Fast fire needs to be queued up immediately as well, and I don't see that happening either. Every second he delays, he's gonna be 1 step closer to defeat. Fast fire is now in. Still 40 seconds away from Imperial is going to be Miguel. Gets a decent demo hit though, and as I said, I'm not convinced on the fire ship numbers. And an even fight here is not enough for Sitaux. He needs to completely annihilate this fleet here. And that goes through, you know, those fire ships attacking those galleys and not the fishing ships. That is gonna be some beautiful demos just before the fast fire ship would hit. And at this point, Miguel didn't lose a single war galley from this group, as once he gets to Imperial and he's gonna get Bracer and Chemistry, and obviously Galleon, he should be able to clean this one up relatively easily. There's a castle being attempted over here, and some random catapracts are being sent through the water. Sitaux may have one more shot at this one, even if he can't win the water. He needs to sneak Wills in here, because this is an area that cannon galleons can't really cover, and it's almost impossible for him to take water here. So the only hope he has is that he needs to win this game on land. And the only way you win this on land is if you have something here that can consistently produce units and push the base of Miguel. That's, I think, the only shot here for Sitaux. You cannot cross on the ice on the left side. The only way that you cross is in the middle, as we're gonna have the castle. And as I mentioned, getting rid of Byzantine fortifications is always very hard. That's gonna be a 7000 HP castle. And or even more aggressive castle. That might be a little too ballsy, but there is enough fast fire ships to potentially secure that for him. He needs to protect the Wills though. He needs to protect the Wills, and that's a bit of a disaster here. Nope, not happening here for Sitaux. I mean, why is he not sending in his fire ships? I think he's got enough. 9 fast fires versus 10 galleys. Let's go. That's enough. And one thing that Miguel doesn't have right now, as I'm looking at this, is production. His resources are alright, but I only count 3 docks from him, which means that it's gonna be hard to replenish those lost galleons. Here comes the castle. If this castle is going up though, then you probably don't want to commit that much against those fire ships. And that's even better for Sitaux. He's gonna have 1 knight and 1 catapract just stomping Wills here, and such small details could actually start snowballing the game. Remember that whoever controls the middle is gonna have a huge amount of gold to work with. Heavy demos on the way for Miguel, but as I said, I think Sitaux needs a forward base over here, and there's a trap being brought in. That trap, he could actually start trapping down. Oh, I love this from Sitaux. He's doing the only thing that can potentially make him win, because he's no longer going to win the water, I think, especially with heavy demos on the field. But if this castle goes up, getting rid of this one is gonna be impossible, and Sitaux is turning back. Why? Why is Sitaux turning back? That's not a castle that you want. He sees the stone mine. That's a borderline castle, because cannon galleons will take this down. This would have been a perfect castle here. You probably saw the stone mine, but send 2 cataphracts, and make a castle here. And that's gonna be a perfect castle. Heavy demos on the way coming in for Miguel. That's gonna be a big blast. The first one sinks half of the ships for Sitaux, the other one destroys the other half. So as I said, this is why you need that foothold on the opponent's island, because I don't realistically see Sitaux winning the water. And from that point on, he needs to hold his own side, just like he's doing right now. And he's gonna have to start getting a foothold on the opponent's island. Greek fire, that's a good question. There is no Greek fire on these fast fires. That could actually help quite a bit, indeed. I totally forgot about that unique tech for Byzantines, but they do not have Greek fire in this one. The Trebs, telling the TCs over here, I don't think that they see that castle over there, and I see it's gonna be a cataphract play from Sitaux. And he's doing the right thing. He needs to start pushing these wheels, start pushing down the markets, and the thing is that it takes quite a lot of time to destroy Sitaux, because Miguel's entire army is on water. So Miguel won't be able to push this one. By the way, Sitaux actually still doesn't have access to this gold mine. He actually could have potentially sent these wheels in here while he had water control. Now the Trebs are crawling up. It's still a game that Miguel should be able to win. But there is a slim chance here for Sitaux, and as I said, neither of these players will give up easily, as this castle is gonna be slowly taken down. And if these TCs and castles go down, that's very sloppy from Sitaux though. How is he allowing those traps to be taken down by wheels is beyond thinking, although the wheels aren't really doing a great job killing it, and the cataphracts now arrive, so it might be enough. Still, keep in mind that Sitaux doesn't have gold anytime soon. Like, his gold mine here is getting denied, but he could actually get a nice little sandwich here from his fast fires. He's mismicroing them quite heavily though, as they target the Treb and not the galleons. This castle is slowly going down. At this point, Sitaux's got only chance, or only one chance, and that is pushing the opponent on land before the extra gold in the middle for Miguel will materialize. That's the only chance that Sitaux has, and that's why a castle here would have been so much better. And while he's taking down TCs, if he takes down these castles as well, then cataphracts will start rampaging the eco of Miguel, and Sitaux could also play for wood control, because the only place you're going to access wood is over here. And now that the castles are down, if you have 5 cataphracts here, then they can actually start steamrolling the base of our red player. Still, as I said, Sitaux's gold income isn't really super reliable, and his stone income here is also somewhat worrisome, as he's going to lose this castle in the middle as well, but he's sort of doing the only thing that could save him the game. And this might be enough now. 2 cataphracts, he needs to delete these. He needs to delete these, because otherwise he's gonna get them converted, and if he gets them converted, they will be unleashed on these Trebs. That's a massive mistake from Sitaux there as well. So he kinda had to delete those, or just try to retreat, but he can't allow those to be converted. And the problem is that Sitaux's push here sort of stalls out, whereas he's really on a serious timer because of gold control. He just doesn't have gold. And I think that now Miguel can use Trebs from the ice to take this castle down, because this one is going to be exposed, and even traps from the inside will start taking it down. There's gonna be Arbalest and probably Bombard Cannon play here from Sitaux, but have I mentioned that those converted cataphracts will cause a lot of problems for you? They will. They will cause a lot of problems, and Sitaux is out of gold. So he's really struggling to protect this gold mine over here. Maybe he could try getting a castle up, because he could try defending this with Bombard Cannons and castles, but I don't think Sitaux has enough. He tried it, but I think this game was lost in the moment he was Byzantines versus Saracens. This is a enormous civ advantage for Miguel, but that comes from, I think, either better drafting or just using the drafted civs better than Sitaux did. So, yeah, I mean, Sitaux was very unlucky with this forward gold, but that happens, and I just don't think that Byzantines is a good civilization for this map. We have seen that multiple times in the event. I think Byzantines is a bad civ for this map. Something like Koreans or Saracens, for example, seem a lot more legitimate. Maybe even Vikings would be cool, but obviously Vikings are better used elsewhere, or they would just get globally banned or sniped anyways. Now, this foothold, I think, is just minutes away from getting cleaned up, and in that case, Sitaux is gonna be out of options. He has absolutely no hope of turning it around, and we will just have Miguel coming in here with Arbalest. At this point, we will have Galleons denying this gold mine from Sitaux. He's trying to do his best to sell resources. He's still hoping that this push can actually save the day here for him. But his opponent is sitting on so much gold, so at this point Miguel knows that his opponent is on a timer. He knows exactly that his opponent will be starved out of resources. And just like in the previous game, where Sitaux was fully aware that Miguel has a limited amount of time left before he runs out of gold, that's actually going to be the case as well here. But the other way around, Miguel knows exactly that he just needs to slow this push down. Otherwise, there is no hope. And I don't think there is going to be any hope here for Sitaux. I mean, his orbs have even numbers compared to the opponent, but the upgrades are better. And remember that there's so much pressure on the economy of Sitaux. We could even see some cannon galleons so that he can start shelling these castles or so. But anyways, monks get picked off here by the Catapract. It's a nice find from Sitaux, but this is just going nowhere for Sitaux, and this can end in a very, very long stalemate because Sitaux is not gonna give up on this easily as we have seen in the previous games, but I don't think there's any win condition left for him. He's trying to go for Byzantine elite skirms, but I mean, yeah, this is full desperation mode. Byzantines, their only shot against a very, very strong late game water civilization like Saracens is to go for a power spike based approach. So like faster castlage, which is kind of impossible because Saracens will just buy themselves up a lot faster. And early Imperial could have been a thing had he not lost so many resources early on and that gold mine. And now Galleons are here to clean this one up, and as I said, this game is very much over. We're just waiting for these buildings to get cleaned up. If these buildings are actually cleaned up, there is zero hope for Sitaux. He's sitting in his own base, and I mean, look at this. He's trying to redock, but Miguel is doing an excellent job covering the shoreline. This is near perfect coverage, and I love how Miguel is doing this. He knows that Sitaux's only chance is if he somehow gets the water back now that this forward has been cleaned up, or at least it's in the process of being cleaned up. And because of that, he's just covering every single inch of the shoreline, preventing Sitaux from redocking. Sitaux is at 115 population, his opponent is 160. And when this actually gets cleaned up, Miguel will unleash those bombard cannons on the opponent's base. The trap actually takes down a galleon over here, as Miguel's traps are still firing up hills against that castle. Sitaux believes in something still, now tries to go for what's probably gonna be the famous and well-renowned Byzantine light cavalry, but this ship is gone. This ship is gone because like Sitaux is ahead in every aspect of the game, and there is no way you will get your cavalry to the side of Miguel. Just think about it. There's so many galleons that can deny these crossings over here. Like, you will run past those galleons with your light cav, and you will lose half of them. So, like, and you also have to add that if you are Miguel and you see that that's the plan for the opponent, you will just make a couple of demos and patrol them over here, and they will never get through that. So, it's going to be Rams and Light Cav. The Rams are here to soak up the arrow fire, but once again, Miguel is taking into Hussar himself. So, it's gonna be probably just big Hussar raids, and if 20 Hussars hit this part of Sitaux's eco, it's over. In fact, it is long over, I think. So now, this castle still stands for Sitaux. That is a positive thing for him, but his forward is cleaned up. His opponent is sitting on a huge amount of gold in the middle. If I really want to hype things up, maybe if somehow Sitaux gets control over this part of the map, then there's a chance, but I don't think there is. Like, right now he doesn't have the tools to stop 5 Arbalest inside his base. And it very much seems like we're gonna have a decider game coming in here. This will mean that I will just die at the end of this cast because it's gonna be like 11 hours or so. Look at this. Sitaux, Miguel, Sitaux, Miguel, Sitaux, Miguel. Alternating orders of wins. It's a free scoreline. So now we will go to the final home map of Sitaux, and I did mention this throughout the entire set that I have casted. That Sitaux always took all his home maps. Miguel always took all his home maps. But the final map is gonna be Sitaux's home map, and this is why that Arabia sort of comeback from Sitaux, the crazy game versus Vikings, could actually have a massive impact on this set. Sitaux could have just said, hey, it's over, and go to the next game. But because of that, it is Miguel who has to take away a home map from the opponent and not the other way around. So that Arabia win might prove crucial for Sitaux over here. I think Redbull Wololo 2 qualifiers, correct me if I'm wrong, I'll have to go back in chronology for that. Redbull Wololo 2 qualifiers. In fact, I think... Nope, it's going to be Redbull Wololo 1 or 3 then. Is it 3 actually? Might be 3. But hold on. Where's Sitaux at? I can't find him. But there was a set where Sitaux almost beat Max in one of the Redbull Wololo qualifiers before. And it was an even scoreline in the final game. I remember that. That was a good story as well. It was 2-2 scoreline. Everybody expected Max to win by a massive margin. And it was a 2-2 scoreline. I joined up for the final game only to get Sitaux destroyed in the final game. So that was an interesting qualifiers from that perspective. I don't remember which it was, but Sitaux has the history of going into final games in qualifiers. Indeed, it was Redbull Wololo 2, second qualifier round of 16s. It was a 2-2 scoreline versus Max, and Sitaux ended up losing the final game. So he ends up losing versus Max 3-2, and Max ended up qualifying. So this time, let's see if Sitaux can edge out the victory in the final game of the set. So far, yet so close for both players. One game away from qualifying. And this is going to be a very important game for both of them, because if whoever loses will have to retry the entire thing next week, and there is no guarantees that either of these players will be able to qualify in the next week, because we'll have a lot of tough players to fight against. And on the other side, as I said, whoever wins is gonna get into the main event. I think based on what we have seen from both players, either of them would deserve to be there at the end, but I have to say that whoever qualifies from this round is gonna have to clean up their gameplay a little bit. Because at the end of the day, we're going to have some very, very tough competition in the main event, and both players had quite a lot of mistakes in this set so far. Okay. So we're going to Mountain Ridge, which is the final game of the set. Let's take a look at the remaining civilizations. Miguel has to take away one home map from the opponent, and it's now or never. And we are gonna have Byzantines gone. For Sitaux, Malians, Lithuanians left versus Britons, Mayans. While I love the Lithuanians choice here, I think Lithuanians should be the thing. The other side is going to be probably going Mayans, I would say. Both of these civs are insanely powerful. Mayans in general are super strong, but Britons are very good at holding defensive positions, something that could be a valuable thing in Mountain Ridge. Whatever happens, I actually favor the civilizations of Miguel here a tiny bit. I would prefer Britons here, because if you control the middle ridge, then there is no way that you can actually push Britons away from that. Warwolf Trebs holding the hill is like next to impossible to push away from there. It probably has to be Lithuanians, because I would feel very disappointed if we saw Malians on a map that isn't really a Malian map anyways. And yeah, this is not a Malian map at all, and this is a decider game, so I think you gotta go with Lithuanians here. This map has quite a lot of relics, and that actually helps quite a bit with Lithuanians. And thank you so much for the 50 euros. Academos, I appreciate that a lot. I think it actually wrote it in dollars, but it was 50 euros. But thank you so much. I appreciate that a lot. Your support means a lot. Yeah, I mean, I'm obviously not gonna quit in the middle of the set, so we're rolling with this one. 10 hours, let's go. So, one final game to decide who qualifies to Red Bull Wololo 4. This was an insanely long game, but this final one, this could be even longer, because neither of these players will give up. It's a decider game, and it's a map that often could result in stalemates. So, I'm not gonna lie, this game could be very long. I mentioned this when I saw the map pack, that I think that Mountain Rage is a map that can stall out very, very easily, because there is zero motivation for the players to push the hills early on, other than picking up relics. But also the players' bases are so well defendable early on, and then the hills are so well defendable as well when you have that massive hill advantage, that it can often stall out and result in very, very long games. And considering that neither of these players have the tendency to resign early so far, as we have seen, and considering that it's the last game of the set deciding who qualifies, I think that this could potentially be a super duper long game. We're just waiting for the players to join up, and we will have the next game coming in a matter of moments, the final game of the day. After this, I'm just gonna go and sleep, if you excuse me. I actually need to get some food. Alrighty. So, let's go into the next game over here. We're just waiting for the players to get ready. They're possibly both cleaning up their minds, preparing for the final battle over here, and I don't blame them for that. So let's see what the final game brings us. So, Miguel versus Sitaux. I actually predicted 4-2 for Sitaux at the beginning of the set. That's not going to be true, that's for sure. It can be only 4-3, but I think this could be a 4-3 on either side. This game in the final one could be a coin flip, because so far, Miguel was unable to take away a home map from the opponent, but on the other hand, I wasn't convinced by Sitaux with the civilizations that he has remaining, so I feel like this could be a very, very close set overall, very, very close game in the final one. So, we're gonna have still no game. We're waiting for, I believe, Miguel to get ready. He's probably also, as I said, cleaning his mind for one final game. I don't blame the players for taking 5 minutes off, because it all comes down to this single game. Okay, so indeed nerves will be pretty high as well for both players, but I think that actually helps. It's hard to say who it helps. Do you think Lithuanians with tower shields will have an impact? No. And honestly, I think that's the reason why you have to pick Mayans here and not Britons. While Britons would be amazing in defensive positions, Mayans have an answer to everything that Lithuanians can bring in. So I feel like the Mayans' versatility might be a little bit more dominant in this one. So, what are we waiting for? We're just waiting for Miguel. Is just the winner qualifies? Yes. The loser is going to have to retry the entire thing. So go through all the early rounds, all the previous opponents. As Repscaro, thank you so much for the Prime sub. I appreciate that a lot. Oh, I just actually... I saw what's going on in the lobby, and Sitaux actually asked Miguel if he's tired already. Do you know what Sitaux actually said after that? Sitaux said, I could play for like 5 more hours. I did mention that Sitaux likes to play deep in the evening, and it very much seems like it's gonna be the case. Miguel's response is even better because he says, well, I have hangover, so it looks like we have a half-drunk Miguel versus a non-tired Sitaux in the final game. In this one. And Sitaux was like, I wanted to play Deep Waters League after you, or versus you after that. So basically, there is like a smaller tournament called Deep Waters League, and it appears that Sitaux actually wanted to play with Miguel after this one, but they probably didn't count for the fact that it's like a 5 hours long set. So let's see. Lithuanians, Malians remaining versus Britons and Mayans. And the players will jump into the game in a matter of moments. So we will jump into game number 7. It couldn't be more hype than this one, that's for sure. So this will come down as one of the best qualifier sets so far in not just this year's or this Red Bull Wololo. It's probably gonna come down to being one of the best qualifiers overall in Red Bull Wololo history, because this game or this set was very, very competitive. Neither of the players played super clean, but both made like equivalent amount or same magnitude of mistakes, and that made this series very, very even and very, very competitive. As we will jump into the final game one more time, I'm going to introduce the players in Red Bull Wololo for qualifiers, as we will have on the right side of the map, Sitaux in yellow as Malian. Surprisingly, this is not really a Malian's map, so I'm not really sure what he's thinking about, but whatever Miguel has, it's probably going to be better than Malian's over here, and that's going to be Miguel with Mayans. I don't know, I feel like Miguel's civilization is like light years better than Sitau's civ. Sitau's going to go for the long walls over here, and we are going to have, oh indeed, Champ Scars. That's an interesting idea. So Malian champions indeed could be interesting, and it would be very stylish to beat the people's champion Miguel with champions, because Mayans would struggle quite badly versus champions with all that pierce armor, although plumed archers are still pretty devastating against them, because plumed archers, you have a lot of them, so even though they actually do little damage per arrow, it's going to be about the amount of arrows overall. So Sitaux is going to finish the walls on the right side real quick, and both players are just going for some early walls. Now here's the deal. Sitau's scout actually gets trapped within the base of his opponent, and you gotta wonder if that's a good situation for him or not. Because on the positive side, he can do some harassment on isolated vills. On the negative side, he sort of gives up all scouting. Look at this. He's got basically 0 scouting. He wanted to snipe a will from the opponent, but it looks like that's not gonna be the case. And he will have to settle with an attempt to like try and harass some vills at best. I don't think that he can find an isolated will. the good news is that he forced his opponent to make free spearmen, which is a nice start to have, and it looks like Miguel is going straight Eagles. That is because Sitaux actually wants to play a very aggressive game. He's once again selling stone, and he wants to go for the Malian fast castle crossbowman play here. That could work out. If you can beat the Mayan player to castle age here, and just go for the crossbowmen, then the crossbows will actually beat the eagles of feudal age very easily, but Miguel knows what's up and he's also going to buy himself up. Which means that you are gonna have the eagles in a rather difficult position in this one. So we will have a second range on the way for Sitaux. I'm not sure what he's thinking about when he's going archers against Mayans, because even if Mayans go for their own archers, that's going to be problematic for the Malians. Option number 2 is that Mayans go for eagles, and that's going to be problematic as well for Malians here. So, scale mail on the way. Indeed, Miguel's going to go for straight eagles. He is going up with market and blacksmith. Now, keep in mind that Miguel knows that his opponent is going up with market blacksmith. So, this might be the reason. So, if you think about it, Sitaux knows exactly that Miguel is up to double barracks eagles potentially because he sees the market. Otherwise, there wouldn't be a market, there would be an archer range somewhere around over here. There is no range, which means that Miguel is going eagles. And it might be intentional from Sitaux to go for full archers, because he wants to make his opponent commit entirely to eagles, so the Malians' cavalry can actually come in, or potentially infantry, like longswordsmen even, could be a thing. Sitaux sold his stone, so I wonder how aggressively he's going to play this one, but there's a chance that he's gonna try a super aggressive forward siege workshop, and maybe even go something like knight and mangonel, or potentially longsword, although I think, like, someone actually quoted that from me. I once said that longswords are just like knights, but worse. And that is true in that regard, that longswords will just get converted just like knights would. So I feel like if you're actually going for something that deals with eagles here and go for an aggressive push, then you probably are going for knights here and not longswords. So now you're gonna have crossbows in here. Let's see if they can pick off a will on the wood line. That seems to be impossible, as Miguel reacts very nicely. Miguel has some gold control issues, that's for sure. So you see that he had to abandon his gold mine for a moment, had to replace his gold income here, and this might be an intentional trap set up here by Miguel. But Miguel needs some time until his ego numbers grow high, and I'm not gonna lie, if you can find 4 or 5 will kills here for these crossbows, it doesn't matter that those crossbows will get killed by the eagles. So, looks like we have a big scuffle over here. You could actually sandwich those eagles in between the mining camp and the gold mine. And Mayans don't have the eagle production speed bonus that Aztecs would have. So, I think this is a relatively decent engagement for Sitaux. He picked off 2 wheels, so there's sort of a nice little benefit here, and he's gonna go with more crossbows. Cost efficiency is debatable, but I think that this is a good enough engagement for Sitaux for the time being. He is going for a university for ballistics, and there's already a stable. So it looks like Sitaux wants to play a very aggressive game. He doesn't want to drag this out long. And Miguel is in trouble. Miguel is actually in trouble. He lost 2 wheels, he doesn't have a single eco upgrade, and he just lost this gold mine. The crossbows could deny the other one, and more importantly, there are knights coming, right? There will be knights coming eventually, as there is only 2 ranges worth of production. What's suspicious is that there is crossbows coming in groups of 3, or at least oftentimes they do, so that's why I thought that maybe there is 3 ranges, but nope, there is only 2 ranges and a stable. The cheaper Malian buildings help you quite a bit, and idle time, that's already growing quite heavily here for Miguel, and the fact that he only has 8 on gold doesn't help with massing eagles and scorpions at the same time. Did you see that Sitaux withdrew his knight? I think he's waiting until he has like 3 or 4 knights, and they will be able to steamroll that scorpion, the eagles, and then potentially just march straight into the base of Miguel here. So once again, the wheels will have to escape, and this is the problem that Miguel is facing. He's forced to run for so long, and these wheels are going down at a quite rapid pace. Now the knights are coming in, trying to pick off one Scorpion. The other Scorpion is gonna go down as well. The knights are a little bit mispositioned here, not really supporting the archers, more like acting individually. But if you look at the military numbers, 21 to 6, and I did mention that not a single player has lost its own home map in this set so far, and it seems like the tendency will continue. And if Sitaux wins this one, we will look back at the crazy Runestones game. The game where it felt like it was long over against Vikings. And now, I think it's over. 50 wheels compared to 33, the aggressive play from Sitaux, and Sitaux is going to qualify for the first Red Bull event of his career. Upsetting Miguel, I would say, because Miguel was still the favorite of this set, or at least he was widely regarded as the favorite in this one. And I doubted the Malian's pick, but it looks like he calculated this one, and the crossbow plus knights play works out nicely. And you could say, hey, this is gonna be cleaned up. At this point, it may not matter. 52 wheels against 31. The eco of Miguel is in absolute ruins, and replenishing that army is going to be next to impossible for Miguel, let alone tech switching. So I have to say that this would be the moment for Sitaux to just add the second stable and continue flooding knights. So it's not completely impossible for Miguel to turn this one around, but it's almost next to impossible, to be honest. So 31 wheels versus 55, a massive eco advantage, and as I said, he will constantly be forced to replenish his egos against knights, which means that he's taking inefficient engagements with weaker economy. It will just grind down all his resource bank, and behind this one, Sitaux will just outboom him. What Sitaux needs to do is just keep adding the crossbows and the knights, try to be a little bit more aggressive, force Miguel to defend and make more army, and behind this one he can just boom, and you see that villager differential is actually just growing and growing. Sitaux knows exactly that he has done enough damage to ensure that now all he needs to do is just make sure that Miguel keeps investing into army. Now, one thing that Sitaux needs to be careful about is that this is a big group of egos, and egos running into your eco is a very easy way of losing games. So he still needs to be careful not to lose those, but I did mention that you will have this hill here, and this hill is going to help you defend quite a bit, and I see Malian cav archers. I wonder if this is intentional or a misclick, but no, it's intentional. Malian cav archers. Lol. Interesting. But still, I mean, the cav archers will have a better synergy with the knights here in terms of mobility, and they can also run away from egos a lot easier. So while this actually seems like an okay fight for Miguel, reality is that he's using every resource that he has to fight this one. So you see that Miguel is still at 34 wheels. He hasn't added a wheel for a while now, and in the meanwhile, Sitaux is at 66. I feel like this final push may have been the game sealing moment here, because all the army is gonna go down for Miguel, and he's got 9 on food, he's got 16 on gold, but I mean, he's not gonna have the economy to rebuild this one, that's for sure. But even if he does, Sitaux's gonna be more than happy to just keep adding stables, and he's at 69 eco, he can easily afford to just come in with some more knights, he can go full castle age. And also the cav archers could run in, harass those wheels a little bit, run out as well. The problem for Miguel is that he's stuck in castle age. He's never gonna have a good economy unless this game is very long or unless Sitaux makes a big mistake, whereas Sitaux is just outbooming him. Sitaux understands that all he needs to do is ensure that he doesn't die to these egos. If he can just keep these egos in check in this side of the hill, by the way, he's always fighting with the hill and not against the hill, then he's just gonna be able to boom on the free TCs. And Miguel would probably need to try again next weekend in the qualifiers unless a miracle happens here, and Sitaux is very close to securing his first ever Red Bull Wololo qualification spot. We did discuss that he's one of the better up-and-coming players, and there could be a lot of potential in him, and we could see him becoming a top 20 player in like half a year or so. This might be the first step for him. Obviously, he needs to prove himself quite a bit, but at this point, I think he has proven himself by, or at least to a certain extent, proven himself by defeating a long time, very, very high level player, Miguel here, because Miguel was 34 vills 10 minutes ago. Now he's 38. Look at the population, 101 versus 48. Miguel isn't dead yet, but he's gonna have no chance of actually winning against Miguel or against Sitaux unless Sitaux makes a big mistake. Sitaux's got a full boom here with 4 TCs, and Miguel is barely able to reinforce his battle group over here. If these knights have better upgrades, especially +1 attack or so, this would be even more so devastating over here. But Cav Archer numbers are steadily growing, and Egos will struggle cleaning up that many Cav Archers. In this very moment, Miguel calls the GG, and the pattern continues. Win first by Sitaux and then alternating win order. Not a single home map was taken away from the opponent on either side. And this is what I was referencing to at the beginning of the set, that all you gotta do if you're Sitaux once winning the first game is win your home maps. And he did that. His gameplay wasn't really clean in many cases. In fact, I would borderline call it chaotic. And he felt a little lost on some maps, like, for example, especially on Greenland. But in exchange, he played very resiliently, and small details ended up mattering. For example, the relics being collected on the meadow map, or his resilience in the Arabia, or well, Runestones game. And that was basically the key. Sort of pulling an upset with Chinese versus Vikings is a massive, massive advantage there, and that secures a win for Sitaux in this decider set and moves him into Redbull Wololo 4 main event. I am fairly certain that if you would have asked anyone from the Age of Empires community on who do they think will qualify for Redbull Wololo 4, they probably wouldn't have listed Sitaux there. So he's sort of a surprise participant. We will see what he can do in the main event. But regardless, this is probably the biggest achievement of his career. His resilience, his stamina here in this long series as well has proved very convincing. He still needs a lot of cleanup to be done on his gameplay, but he's on a good course to becoming a very, very dangerous player in the next couple of months as well, and he's gonna have his chance to prove himself in Redbull Wololo 4, whereas Miguel, he's gonna have to try again next weekend to qualify. He is still potentially one of the favorites to qualify for the event, but we have seen that upsets can happen, and because of that, it is not guaranteed that Miguel is actually going to be there at Redbull Wololo 4. He's gonna have to run for his money here next weekend. But anyways, congratulations to Sitaux. Miguel put up a great fight against him, but Sitaux edges out this set with a 4-3 scoreline.